Fox Sports.
We are Black Horse. We are Minnesota.
Great baseball game last night. Bottom of the ninth, Mitch Garver, his first ever walk-off off Neil Ramirez, scores. Ere Adrianza, who pinch ran for Miguel Sano, who started the rally with a key walk in the ninth in Minnesota. Goes now 7-3 against the Cleveland Indians. Fans arriving in downtown Minneapolis. Another perfect summer night for baseball. Game 2 of this 3-game set between the Indians and the Minnesota Twins. Welcome inside Target Field. I'm Kevin Gorg. So much news here today on trade deadline day throughout baseball, and of course right here in Twins territory, a fixture at second base. Brian Dozier, since 2012, was dealt right before the deadline to the Los Angeles Dodgers. In return, they get a second baseman named Logan Forsythe and a couple of prospects, one an outfielder, one a left-handed pitcher. We're going to hear from Derek Falvey within our game broadcast tonight on all the moves the Twins made. They made 5 trades, 11 players back for the 5 that they dealt. That's the excitement off the field. The excitement on the field revolves around starter Kyle Gibson. Maybe his most impressive start as a Minnesota Twin last Thursday at Fenway Park. The Red Sox are the best team in baseball. It's a hitter's paradise, but he went 8 strong, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 7 strikeouts. Gibson threw 120 pitches. He was rock solid against the Red Sox. So we asked Gibson about the adjustments in the last calendar year that he has certainly made to allow for this great success this season.
I was just using my fastball a little bit better in the zone, using it more consistently in the zone, and trying to get more teams into swing mode instead of take mode. There's sometimes where some of my movement at the bottom of the zone or on the edges of the zone get me in trouble because it moves out of the zone. And if the hitters aren't in swing mode and they're not up there, trying to attack the baseball, then they're going to be in take mode. And for me, that's not really a good thing, especially if I'm not keeping it in the zone. So I think that's been big for my slider, throwing it more in the zone. And I think it's been big for my fastball being more in the zone.
The lead is down to 8 in the Central. Gibson's red hot. He faces a red hot pitcher, and Bauer on the other side. Should be a great game, and it's a special night in the booth as Twins greats Justin Morneau and Torrey Hunter join Dick Bramer to call the game. It's game number 2, the Indians and the Twins, coming up next on Fox Sports North.
is back and gone. Gone! A home run for Torrey Hunter. Torrey sends one high. Morneau gives it a ride. It's back and gone. A home run. Oh, Torrey Hunter, did he catch it? Oh, what a catch by Morneau. A deep drive to right field. Grand slam for Morneau.
Game 2 between the Twins and the Cleveland Indians. The guy to my far left, a former American League MVP and National League batting champion. This guy won 9 Gold Gloves. I hit 276 in high school. I'm a t-shirt in a room full of tuxedos. We're happy to be bringing you Game 2 between the Twins and the Cleveland Indians. And of course, the big news today, the fact that Brian Dozier was traded at the trade deadline. It was a different trade deadline, Morneau, Justin, that saw you leave the Twins organization, but kind of an awkward feeling.
Yeah, it is, and you go through a lot of emotions on a day like this, but for the guys that remain, the guys that are still here, you still have a job to do. You can't worry about who's not here. You control what you can control, and that's going out there preparing to win baseball games, not just going out there trying to play hard. You go out there and you worry about who's in the lineup, who's standing next to you. You go to battle with those guys that are there, and don't worry about, are more trades going to happen? Who do we get? Who do we lose? There's enough talent in this room to continue to play competitive baseball and to continue to try and catch these Cleveland Indians that are ahead of them that they're playing against tonight.
And the Twins are hoping that the last 2 months will be the best 2 months, as was the case in 2017. And an encouraging game last night for Miguel Sano.
Oh, yeah, man. He looks a lot better, a lot more patient at the plate. Looked like he really wanted it. That last night he had that bat where it was a fastball in. He sunk his hands in, got inside that fastball, hit a ball to the left center gap, and then this slider down and away. It showed me that he has some fight, some will to get to that ball and make something happen. But this last at bat last night, he grinded at the plate just to get on base and started that rally. Man, I tell you what, this guy, if he gets it all together and get rid of that weakness on the slider down and away, I definitely think. But tonight is going to be a challenge with Trevor Bauer. He has a rough time against Trevor Bauer, but if he can get that pitch up, and he'll definitely do some damage with it.
Trevor Bauer's got a great curveball. Kyle Gibson has a great breaking ball. A couple of things to watch tonight as the Twins hope to pick up their 8th win this year against the Indians.
They're in position to win this series again with the win last night. Francisco Lindor in the box.
facing Kyle Gibson, who's had a couple of good starts against the Indians already this year. And fastball sailing outside, ball one.
Home Furniture starting pitcher. Tonight's starting pitcher stats are brought to you by Home Furniture. We got Kyle Gibson, who threw the ball very well his last time out, career high in pitches, and he wanted to finish that game. He looked like he wanted to be on that mound. He's been one of the Twins' best pitchers and most consistent starters all year. Good numbers. Hopefully it continues tonight against a good ball club.
1-1. And a ball line foul by a couple feet. Mauer reached for it. Good thing it didn't deflect off his glove. Then it would have been a fair ball. As it is, just allowed strike 1 and 2. Looking forward to this, fellas. Of course, admired the way you played and how well you played in a Twins uniform and elsewhere. And we're just going to have a fun night talking baseball tonight and talking trades and all sorts of fun things. So it'll be my pleasure to be in the booth with you guys. 1 and 2 to Lindor. Brantley will follow, and then Ramirez. Got him on that breaking ball. And it's a strikeout to start the night for Gibson. Let's go through the Menards batting order for Cleveland. Lindor has already struck out. Michael Brantley will hit next. And then Jose Ramirez, Edwin Encarnacion, Yonder Alonso, Melky Cabrera, Jason Kipnis, Roberto Perez, and Greg Allen.
And this time of the ball game right here, you saw Lindor after he swung and missed at that pitch, kind of looked out at the batter's eye. The shadows this time of year in this ballpark can be very difficult to pick up the ball.
And as Roy Smalley's explained it, it's tough because the pitcher is in the darkness, in the shadows, and the batter's eye is still in the sunlight. Is that the crux of the issue?
And I think the best way I try and explain it to people.
And that was in front of the plate.
Wow.
Bobby Wilson reached. And it's not a reviewable play, but it looked like he reached and caught the ball right over the plate.
Yeah, he
jumped out of there quick too.
Yeah, he got out. Yeah, it's behind it.
That's a veteran catcher being on top of it.
Yeah,
he tries to catch
absolutely.
it, continue to move forward with it, and maybe he can trick CB into calling a fair ball and getting a quick out there.
And you can trick CB.
2-1.
And back to my point of what I was saying about the batter's eye, but it's almost like when you're driving into the sun and you have to put your visor down and you're kind of squinting, you're sort of looking out, it's really bright. That's the only thing I can really compare it to. If you're driving a car, 60 miles an hour and that sun's right in your face and you're squinting, now trying to hit a 90-mile-an-hour fastball or 95-mile-an-hour fastball with those same kind of brightness as you're looking into, and that's where the difficulty is.
3-1 now to Brantley.
It's also reciprocal, like in the outfield. For the outfielders, the ball's coming at you. It's going in and out in the shade and out in the sun. It's kind of difficult to pick up. You just have to pause when you see the ball hit off the bat and try to pick it up.
Brantley goes to first with a walk, and now Jose Ramirez.
And this is the last guy you want to see come up with guys on base with how well he's been swinging the bat. It's been impressive what he's been able to do really the last few years and carry this offense. Taking over, losing Carlos Santana, and what he's done in the middle of the lineup has kept them in first place for the better part of this year.
And we've seen him
strike on the outside corner.
Both of us, we've seen him the last couple of years. He's worked his butt off. At one point he was shortstop, one point he was at second base, and he was just trying to find his stroke and get comfortable in the league. And now this guy is just, he's doing a little bit of everything.
There's a fly ball to left field, and Rosario comes in a couple of steps, and it's out number 2. Twins obviously have lost some regular players over the last 4 or 5 days, so every night it'll be a different look for a while anyway. In the outfield, Eddie Rosario's in left, Jake Cave in center, Max Kepler in right. Miguel Sano has just rejoined the club at third base. Polanco getting the chance at short. Adrianza at second in place of Brian Dozier. Mauer at first, and Bobby Wilson behind the plate. Logan Forsythe, the major league player, heading back to the Twins in the Dozier trade from the Dodgers, might be available to be in the lineup tomorrow. But remember, we have a noon game tomorrow, and it's a bit of a challenge, a little more of a challenge
flying eastward from Los Angeles than it is going west, because you pick up a couple hours. Dozier, for instance, is in uniform and in the starting lineup for the Dodgers tonight. Outside, ball one.
And he'll be running just on adrenaline.
Yeah.
Fumes and adrenaline. You know, you go through a day like that and your emotions just, you're almost shaken by the time the game's over. You have nothing left because you're thinking of leaving one place that you've only been at and going to a new place. There's excitement, a playoff race, and a big market, and all the rest of that stuff. And his head will hit the pillow and he'll be out in about 2 seconds. So,
well, you went from the Twins. We were in Texas, as I recall, right? And you were dealt to the Pirates.
Yep. And
what was your travel like? Did you get there promptly and get put right in the lineup right away?
I got there in the middle of the game. I flew into Pittsburgh and I was walking in the loading dock, and they had the camera follow me in, and they, you know, drive me in on the golf cart to get to the clubhouse as fast as I could. And I think I got there, I don't know, 4th inning or something like that. And Russ Martin came up and gave me a hug, and it was a blowout. We won by, I don't know, 8 or 9 runs. Clint Hurdle came up to me and said, "You want a pinch hit here in the 8th?" And I kind of looked at him and went, I don't know if this body's quite ready for that if you want me to play the rest of the month.
1-2 to Encarnacion. Pitches up. Now, Torrey, you were never traded, right?
No, I was never traded.
You were a free agent. That's the same thing with Bert. Bert was traded. He was never a free agent. So just the opposite of Bert.
Well, I mean, yeah, but it's still the same feel, because even when I was leaving here and leaving the other teams, you leave those relationships back, and you build relationships, and you go somewhere that's unfamiliar, and you're like, man, I'm trying to get to know these guys. Or you feel uncomfortable. Dozier's going to feel uncomfortable tomorrow, and but they're going to embrace him and try to make him feel comfortable, and he's going to go out there and do his thing. I mean, now Dozier is not the guy. You got Machado,
right,
Matt Kemp. You got guys that have been around. Puig. He can go out there and relax and just play the game and help those guys get on to the playoffs.
Brantley takes off on the 3-2 pitch, grounded to Adrianza. Over to Mauer. That ends a hitless, scoreless first inning for Kyle Gibson. Second half of the year, the month of July, will be the Twins' first winning month, regardless of what happens here tonight. Here's the Menards batting order for the last game of July. Joe Mauer leading off. Eddie Rosario, Jorge Polanco, Logan Morrison, Max Kepler, Miguel Sano, A-Ray Adrianza, Jake Cave, and Bobby Wilson.
Home furniture starting pitcher Trevor Bauer. He has 22 starts, a 9.6 record, a 2.3 ERA, 192 strikeouts, 49 walks. Opponents hitting 212. This guy has a really good curveball. He loves to use it. He falls into patterns, but I promise you, he's going to throw a fastball at somebody's head today.
Huh?
Always. That's what he does.
Well, that's not nice.
I mean, he doesn't do it on purpose. He does it. It's a purpose to the pitch. So he wants to set up his curveball and slider. He loves to come up and in to where you get out of the way. Am I right, Mono?
Get comfortable. It's kind of like CC used to do that to lefties a lot. Tommy hit him every time. Tommy would hit him well. It seemed like he'd throw one up under his chin. And he hit me a couple times. But it's effective. You're aware of it when you're standing in the batter's box, and you never want to throw up near somebody's head. I'm not saying that, but to back guys off and make them conscious of the inside part of the plate, it makes that breaking ball that much more effective.
2-1 to Mauer. He'll be followed by Rosario and Polanco.
I think that's why Roger Clemens dominated me, because he threw pitches at my head and then he would throw a two-seamer out over the plate, and he had so much respect. Oh my God, that sounds
Crack to right and fighting the sun. He wasn't even sure he caught it. That was Melky Cabrera, who lost it maybe in the lights, but he seemed to be the most surprised person in the ballpark that he caught it. Got the Indians out in the field. Brantley, Allen, and Cabrera. Ramirez, Lindor, Kipnis, Alonso, the infielders, and Roberto Perez behind the plate. Melky kind of staggered in a little bit, put the glove up, and wasn't convinced until he opened the glove that he actually caught the ball. One down. Here's Eddie Rosario. Tough day for Joe Mauer. He's played alongside Brian Dozier for a long time. Tough to see friends depart. Let's watch Cabrera in right field and see what.
106 off the bat. You see Melky look behind him. He had no idea where it went. That's what I was talking about. The sun, back into the shade, back into the sun. You can't pick up the ball, and he didn't know he caught the ball. I love how he looked back. That was hilarious.
And he's a funny guy. I got a chance to play with him in Chicago a little bit, and he seems so quiet when he's on the field, and then you get him in the clubhouse, and he's kind of the ringleader of fun a lot of the times.
Down and in, a ball, 1-1. Indians made a couple of moves, and we'll talk about that later on, but they've got another veteran coming to join their outfield, Leonis Martin from Detroit. 1-1. Check swing, 2-1.
And that's been one of their biggest needs, and they feel like they've addressed it at the deadline. They get below average production from their center fielder, so you go out and you get a guy who's been around and been in the league for a long time.
Tapped right side, slowly hit to Lindor, and he throws out Rosario, 2 down.
I think one of the things to watch for tonight with Trevor Bauer, being that he's such an analytical guy, he knows what every hitter in this lineup does well. He knows who hits fastballs. He knows that Rosario loves to swing at the first pitch. He threw him a first pitch slider. He threw him 3 breaking balls. I mean, he will not give in to a guy's strength. He's going to go with your weakness and with his strength. He's going to combine the two. Some guys will just throw whatever the catcher puts down. He wants to throw exactly what he thinks is the right pitch at the time.
Fastball in the outside corner. Plenty of fastball there. That clocked at 96. Polanco, the batter. Now you look at the Twins lineup now, and of course Polanco's recent addition to the lineup after his 80-game suspension. Polanco doesn't even have 100 at bats yet. Sano's just back from his situation. He doesn't have 160 at bats. So the left side of the infield still kind of feeling for their legs on the baseball field, at least at this level. Now an opening at second base with Dozier being traded. Fouled back, and Polanco with a big swing and a foul.
The one thing these guys have is it's created an opportunity for them. You know, for the guys who are gone, yes, we miss them. We enjoyed watching them play, but at the same time, it's an opportunity for these guys to kind of show what they have and see what this team is going to be like moving forward. And they're not out of it, not by any means. I'm not saying that, but it's going to have to be the young guys, and it's going to have to be the guys with a couple years in to prove they're willing to take those strides, so they don't have to make.
Check swing, 3-2.
And they don't have to make those additions in the offseason if these guys prove that it looks like they're their long-term solution at these positions. You know, Miguel Sano's had a rough year. The injury, he said, I talked to him today, he said his legs feel a lot better, so hopefully a good finish for him. So there's a lot of things to look for in this.
And now the Twins Kyle Gibson issued a first inning walk, and now Polanco draws one. Logan Morrison will bat. Last year the Twins handled everybody in the division just fine except the Indians. They only beat them 7 times. And this year, roughly halfway through the season series, the Twins have already beaten the Indians 7 times.
And I think that's one of the things that might drive people crazy while watching this team, because with how well they played against Boston, you know, pitched against Boston and New York, and you know, the series didn't turn out that well, but they had a chance to split that series, lost that 1 game late. You know, it's a team that really seems to play better against better competition. You know, the series against Kansas City out of the break, got swept in Kansas City. So it sometimes, and that sometimes is a result of a young team. Inconsistencies happen, but you know, watching it from the outside, you look at it and you go, I mean, we can dominate Cleveland, we can play with Boston, we can play with the best teams in the league. Our record should be better than what it is, and part of it is underperformance by some guys. Some of it, nobody knew Irvin Santana was going to be out for the most of the first part of the season. I mean, there's things that have happened. So there is still belief, I think, in this clubhouse, at least in this team, with finally having Irvin Santana back, who was the best pitcher last year, and with how good Kyle Gibson's been. There's no reason to think that this team can't go on a run like we've seen last year, like we saw against the Tigers. I mean, we've seen it historically, and this franchise has played well in the last couple months, and hopefully that's what we get to see now.
1-1 to Morrison. Big pop-up is back and out of play. Well, in a season that's been marked by regression for one reason or another, Miguel Sano has regressed this year. Byron Buxton's regressed. What you're looking for, I think, to put it another way, here in the last couple months is progression. And you know, let's see Polanco continue to improve. Let's see Rosario maintain a 300 batting average and extend it over a full season. Let's see Kepler continue to develop and progress rather than regress. Jake Cave giving the opportunity. Anybody been given a greater opportunity this year than Jake Cave, who wasn't even in the organization till late in spring training?
And he's shown very well. He's taken advantage of the opportunity. And I think part of the regression also, they signed Logan Morrison to come in and take the pressure off some of those young guys, and he struggled so much in the first half of the season that it put more pressure on those guys. Sano thought he had to do more. Buxton thought he had to do more. When you're surrounded by those veteran guys who are able to take that pressure off, it makes their job a little easier, and unfortunately he wasn't able to help them in that way at the start of the year.
1-2 to Morrison, and checked again at first is Polanco.
You know, you're talking about Escobar and Dozier leaving the team. 2 veteran guys have been around, has done some great things in his organization, but now it's time for guys to kind of step up. You know, who's going to be the next man up to step up and take this team and lead them to beat these, to catch up with the Cleveland Indians. I think it's Sano, you got Kepler, guys got 2 or 3 years in. It's time for them to step up and do what they got to do.
Polanco takes off, the ball hits Morrison. And Paul Molitor scratching his head. It was a hit batter, so Polanco can only go to second base. And the Twins.
And that's that. And that's, you see a left-hand hitter do that on a pitch that hits you, you know you've got a plus curveball if you're seeing a guy do that. And he was close to swinging there, but that'll tell you that's that 2-strike like we highlighted before the game. He loves going to that breaking ball with 2 strikes, and as a left-handed hitter, if you're able to throw that fastball in there, you make him conscious, and then you get check swings and you get swings on that breaking ball at their back foot, just like that.
Twins with a 2-out walk, a 2-out hit batter, and now Kepler set up with 2 men on and 2 out. Checked his swing and took a ball. Don't get chances against Bauer very often. He has never this year allowed 5 earned runs in a start. As consistent as Kyle Gibson's been this year, there have been 3 games where Gibson's given up 5 earned runs. This guy doesn't give up big numbers. So when you get a chance, you'd love to get a 2-out hit. And now it's 2-0.
His last start he went what, 7-8 innings against Pittsburgh. He pitched really well. I think he had 10 Ks, 10 strikeouts.
Start before that, he walked 5, gave up 9 hits, and was out after 4 innings. Gave up 4 runs. That was in Texas.
Yeah.
2-0 to Max Kepler. He's trying to break through here in the bottom of the first.
Be interesting to see how he approaches this pitch right here, how he thinks he's going to be able to attack Miguel Sano. If he's comfortable and he knows the numbers that Sano has off him, he may not throw him a 2-0 fastball, something that he can hit right here. He might go to something he has, his secondary pitch that he has a lot of confidence in. We'll see how confident he feels in those pitches right now early in the ball game, what he's trying to establish.
Inside
And
corner.
a 2-0 breaking ball that looked like it was probably off the plate. Not something you want to swing at as a hitter anyway, but that'll tell you that he feels like he can get Sano out, and he feels like he's got a good breaking ball working today because he went to it in a 2-0 count, traditional fastball count.
In his last start, he threw a lot of 2-0 little sliders or slurve or whatever you want to call it. He threw a lot of those, so I'm pretty sure he's comfortable with his slider to throw strikes and anything he wants to do with it.
3-1 now to Kepler. Sano and his futility so far against Bauer await on deck. Polanco drew a 2-out walk. Morrison hit by a pitch. Now 3-1 to Kepler.
Sano is like right behind Kepler. He's trying to get a good visual off of Trevor Bauer.
High fastball, a swing and a miss, 3-2, and the runners will take off.
I'll be shocked if he doesn't throw him a breaking ball right here. He showed him how he kind of wants to get him out on that 2-0 pitch.
Yep.
The 3-1, anytime a guy throws you a 2-0 breaking ball, that tells you that he either has some fear in you being able to hit him or he doesn't want to give in to you. I'll be shocked if he attacks him with a fastball right here.
Back, it was a fastball
right down the middle too, but the 2-0 pitch creates the doubt in your mind as a hitter, and it causes you to be just late because you're waiting and you're making sure you don't chase that pitch. His pitch that looks like it starts down the middle, ends up out of the zone inside off the plate. So if you're able to do that and you're able to throw your secondary pitches, which guys in the big leagues who are successful do that, you create doubt in that hitter's mind, and now he's not sure what's coming, and you get those late foul balls and swings and misses and all that kind of stuff when you get into these 3-2 counts.
And he has enough velocity on that fastball to blow it by you.
Runners go, and the pitch lifted to left center field. Brantley jogs after it and puts it away, and the Twins strand 2 in a long first inning for Trevor Bauer.
With Kyle Gibson, Paul Molitor, all smiles, beaming about what he saw last week at Fenway Park. But he did temper some of that excitement, guys, by saying he threw 120 pitches. We're going to have to keep an eye on how he can be efficient tonight. 17 pitches in that first inning. They're going to watch Kyle Gibson. They would not expect he would get into the 120 range tonight with his pitch count. And more bad news for Byron Buxton. Been such a tough season with injuries. that wrist. He just came off the DL at Rochester, re-injured last night, swinging the bat. Palmauer said today, likely back on the DL. More time away for Byron Buxton, who just cannot get any traction with his season this year.
Well, thank you, Kevin. 2-0 now to Yonder Alonso. Yeah, they say in last night's game he had to come out of the game after striking out 3 times. There were some awkward swings that apparently provoked some sort of reaction. Looks or sounds like there's going to be another exam of the wrist to make sure that nothing is broken. Now, he's had x-rays, he's had an MRI, I believe it was, to check on the hamate bone, but something just doesn't seem to be right in there.
And I think I wouldn't be surprised, even though he's in the minor leagues, he's not on a rehab assignment, if he doesn't end up coming up here to see the doctors up here, which occasionally they'll do with minor league players. They'll bring them up and, you know, get the guys they trust in here and the training staff here to take a look and just see what they're dealing with, because he's too valuable to this organization for him not to be on the baseball field.
2-2 to Alonso. Melky Cabrera will follow, then Jason Kipnis. Bouncer to first. Bauer has an easy play. Now, you both could hit a little bit. Why, and I'll ask Torrey for this first, why is Kyle Gibson getting so many more swings and misses this year?
Well, I think this year he's attacking. You know, I think in the previous years he threw a lot of off speed, a lot of breaking pitches, 2-seamers off the plate. He kind of nibbled a little bit, but he's making these guys, he's pitching to contact. He's making these guys swing the bats. And but you know, that slider to me, I think it's probably new and improved, and he's biting a lot more, and I think he's setting it up a lot more as well.
Strike one.
And I think confidence is huge for him also. I mean, he says he made an adjustment, and anytime as a player, if someone gives you something, you know, whether it's change your hand position as a hitter, change your lower half, whatever it is, somebody gives you something that feels good, then you have confidence in it. You go out there and you because when you've struggled, you're sitting there, you're asking yourself, am I this bad, or is there something wrong? And somebody gives you something that you feel like it makes you better. And you go, oh, okay, it wasn't me. I'm not terrible. I just had something wrong with my delivery. I had something wrong with my swing, and it just gives you something. And then you go out and have success with it, and you continue to do it, and you just build on it. And he's doing that, and he's attacked the strike zone.
Cabrera swings and misses on a pitch that might have bounced in front of the plate.
And the one he swung at before that bounced in front of the plate too. I mean, that's a disciplined hitter, a guy who's known for his on-base percentage. To take a swing at a pitch that far out front of the plate. Really, that's that fastball that Roy talked about in the pregame show, attacking with the fastball, the 4-seam, the 2-seam, and then getting those chases on that breaking ball, and you see bad swings like that.
That had some bite.
Yeah.
That had some bite on it. He had a pretty good breaking ball right there.
Well, it should be pointed out that not only has Gibson, in my mind, been the Twins' most consistent starting pitcher, at times Barrios has been more spectacular, but this guy's been very, very consistent. And a ground ball hit to Polanco. That'll wrap up the second inning. Gibson has pitched his best games against the Yankees and the Red Sox. When's the last time the Twins had a pitcher like that? sensitive or careful with Gibson's pitch count after he threw 120 against the Red Sox his last time out, but a couple of fairly quick innings, no hits. And we go to the bottom of the second, and Miguel Sano will bring to this at bat a career mark of 2 for 24 with 11 strikeouts against Trevor Bauer.
And this will be a good test to see if the adjustments he started to make as a hitter, if he's able to do that, and if he's going to look at a couple pitches, see how Bauer's going to try and attack him, or if he's going to get after him early.
Slow breaking ball that drops over the inside corner.
Anytime he throws the fastball, it's to up and in and just kind of set up his off speed, because that's his weakness right now, is his off speed.
That's laced to left center field. He hung a breaking ball, and Sano will have an extra base hit. He threw him one that was taken for a strike, and the other one just kind of sat there a little bit, and Sano clobbered it.
I'm so excited right now. I mean, we've been talking about that. Don't let those off speeds go by, and he set on it and got a pitch up. You hang it, we bang it.
And to me, it looked like that's the pitch he was looking for. He was convinced he wasn't going to throw him a fastball. And the thing of taking that first pitch did for him, it gave him a look of what his breaking ball looks like. And he throws it to him 2 pitches in a row. When you go up there telling yourself you're going to take a pitch, it slows you down, it slows your eyes down, and it allows you to pick up that release point. And then he recognizes the next pitch so well and just hammers into the gap.
Yep.
And that's what everybody wants to see from him, is just those adjustments, and not necessarily getting hits, but looking like he's making that pitcher make a choice of what he's going to throw to him.
Here is Adrianza with Sano at second, nobody out, squaring to bunt. And bunting up the line, and Bauer underhands it. A sacrifice for Adrianza, and Sano advances.
I love it. Manufacturing runs. You know this guy's been pitching well against you.
Last night, Jake Cave dropped down a sacrifice bunt. Now he comes up with a runner at third because of a sacrifice bunt.
And as they say, with that long first inning for Bauer, the ace or the best pitchers, you got to get him early in the game. You get him uncomfortable, and with how well Gibson's throwing the ball, you got Gibson a lead the way he's attacked early in this game.
Yeah.
You play for 1 run early and get yourself a lead. The game is completely different. Now Cleveland's forced to do things. They're forced to try and steal bases if they get base runners on. It puts the pressure on Cleveland once you have the lead as the home team.
Cave, the batter, infield is in. And if you want any indication as to how Kyle Gibson's stock has risen in the American League, look at what the Indians are doing in the second inning. They know that Gibson's quite capable of, not giving up much at all today, so they're trying to shut down a run in the second inning. 1 strike to Cave.
This is what Cave just kind of get a pitch up and do the job and put it in the outfield.
Breaking ball taken.
Don't try to do too much with these pitches. Sometimes young guy, man on third, you're like, oh, it's time to hit a home run or do something big like hit a double. All you got to do is hit that ball in the outfield, get a sac fly. You have to think less to get more. You try to do more, you get less. And you just kind of simplify this thing and get that run in.
Bauer, one of the top strikeout pitchers in the league. 1-1. That's to left. Brantley retreats. Sano setting up for a tag. Station to station baseball after the leadoff double, and the Twins take a 1-0 lead.
I love it, Dick.
That was awesome. That was beautiful. I mean, that's how winning teams play baseball right there. You get a leadoff double, you get them over however it is, and get them in. And like you said, something in the outfield in the air. And for me, I try not to think about the result. I try to think about the process. What am I looking for? I just look for something elevated, something up in the zone that I can hit to the outfield in the air. And then it helps you relax in those situations. You see a great at bat from Cave. That's a team at bat. That's 3 guys right there playing for each other.
Check swing. Looked like he went. Strike 1.
If you want to have a playoff feel, this is it. You got Trevor Bauer, you got Cal Gibson. Every run is 1 run is like 10 runs. So when you're in the postseason, you have to manufacture runs. You have to sack bunt. You have to sack fly. You have to do whatever you can to get that 1 run across. And what they did right there, that in the playoffs win games. I remember Houston Astros doing that to the Dodgers last year, playing simple, simplified the game. They did man on third, less than 2 outs. They shot the ball the other way. They hit ground balls to the second baseman, and that's the winning recipe.
1-2 to Wilson. And a called third strike, a fastball on the outside corner. The Twins get a leadoff double from Miguel Sano. They work them around to take the first lead of the game.
In Seattle, Nelson Cruz, a 2-run double after Garrett Cole had a no-hitter into the 6th, leads the Mariners to an impressive 2-0 win over the world champs. Astros still lead by 3. Morton and Leake tonight, 2 teams going for it. Both teams up to the trade deadline, very aggressive and a fun race in the AL West, guys.
Well, the race has just got a lot more interesting with all the movement in before the trade deadline. We expect there'll be some movement in August as well. Twins have a 1-0 lead. Roberto Perez will lead things off. He takes outside ball 1. Just another reflection on the Twins run that they got in the bottom of the 2nd inning, and how it kind of is a sign that everybody's all in. You had 3 different players contribute to score 1 run. This one lifted to right center field and deep. This has got some carry, and it is off the wall. Perez digs for second, and he will start the 3rd with a leadoff double. So we'll see how the Indians fare here in the same situation the Twins were in the bottom of the 2nd. But in 2005, late in the season, I saw the White Sox do it, and I saw them do it with the front of their lineup. Then another look at Perez driving one off the scoreboard in right. Somebody got a double. Frank Thomas moved him over to 3rd base, and somebody else lifted a fly ball to right. And of course the White Sox in 05 went on to win the World Series, but they got everybody on board with playing that style of baseball, including Frank Thomas.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about a veteran guy. You know, all he wants to do is hit the ball in the air. I mean, he fell into it. Instead of him trying to hit the big home run, what, he hit a sac fly?
Well, he hit one to the right side to move the runner from 2nd to 3rd.
And did what he had to do. You have to in the playoffs. If you want to win, you want to live to fight another day, then you got to do it. But, you know, during the season, you can go for the home run. You can go for those things because you got tomorrow. But in the postseason, you have to play fundamentally sound baseball because there's no tomorrow.
That will roll foul. So the
possibly
Indians trying to move runners along and score a run in the fashion that the Twins did in the bottom of the 2nd.
And that's the difference between a guy getting the job done and not getting the job done. A guy who's bunting for a hit, and Adrianza was going for a hit. You know, it looked like he was trying to take it with him, but worst case scenario, he gets him over. He gets out and he gets him over. You know, for him is what happened. And the worst case scenario there is he tries to be too fine with it, and he bunts the ball foul, and now he's, you know, like Gibson back in the count. So execution is huge.
1-1 to Allen. And this one's a better bunt now. Getting to the bag just in time. Now safe is the ruling. They're saying Adrianza did not have a foot on the bag. And Adrianza, of course, playing for Dozier. Dozier was so good on that play. We'll see whether they challenge it here.
And that's, I think, a little bit of the Looked safe there. I think that's a little bit of the inexperience of how little Adrianza's actually played at second base.
He's safe.
Yeah. In a bunt situation as a second baseman, you got to cheat because the first baseman's job is to go after that ball. Gibson broke towards the third base side. Maurer was trying to crash, but it was an easier play for Gibson to make.
Now we may have a video issue as we did last night. We saw Field and Culbreth, the crew chief, have a talk with Paul Molitor before the game. The video system was offline for a while last night, but the Twins are going to go ahead and challenge it. I'm not sure why Paul had the discussion.
I think it might be a crew. He might ask for a crew review right there as opposed to using up one of their challenges. I think they may be with the issue of what happened last night, and they said the system's down. If there's a close play, instead of not being able to review it, they say okay, and umpires can review, I believe, calls if the system's down. They can go ahead and take a look at it, you know, just in case something like that happens, because you don't want to impact a playoff race because your technology is not working.
Yeah, because it doesn't make sense to challenge that, so it's got to be something that's outside of the challenge.
I think he's safe. I think that Chris Conroy made the right call, but yet it was reviewed, and we'll go with your explanation.
That's the only explanation I can think of, because I can't see using up your review on a play that
close
early in the game and everything else.
They call that inconclusive.
It'll be the Twins exhaust the challenge is what was put up on the board. So the Twins did spend their challenge trying to get the bunt single reverse. First and third, nobody out for Francisco Lindor. And it was a function of the anchor at second base for all these years being gone tonight, and Adrianza just not as accustomed to making that play that Brian Dozier made so well on the bunt play.
And yeah, your responsibilities as a middle infielder are different at short than they are at second on a bunt play.
Dug out by Wilson.
And that's a little communication too. I think I always try to do that in a bunt situation. I'd always try and look at the second baseman. Sometimes I drive him nuts, but say, hey, if I go, you got to get to the bag, and you just kind of have that little, you know, 2-second little word just so to make him aware that, hey, I'm going to crash for that bunt. You got to get to the base, your responsibility. And sometimes that second baseman will inch a couple steps closer to first base to make themselves in a position where that doesn't happen.
Pulled foul, 1-1.
I figure he squared around early enough. Everybody knew he was bunting. I don't know if he got a late. See, look, he didn't.
Gibson broke to the line to third, and then he had to come back and get it. And Joe saw that and recognized that Gibson was going the other way. That's a tough read, but the second baseman's only job right there is to get to first base and be in position to get that guy out. Gibson had to hesitate because there was no one at the base.
Well, he squared early, and Adrianza didn't run until after the ball was down.
Well, let me ask you this, and Justin, you played on the right side of the infield. The first bunt went up the third baseline. The play for a second baseman is different if the second bunt goes up that way, right? I mean, could it be nothing more than Adrianza's surprise that one bunt went one way and the other bunt went the other way?
Well, I think
swung on and missed, 2-2.
The biggest thing that was always preached to us on the infield, get it out.
Right.
Make sure you get. That was TK. That was Gardy. I'm sure Molly. You know, that's one of those things. No matter what happens in a bunt situation, the worst thing that can happen is you don't get anybody out. The runners move up, fine, but you have to make sure the guy that was giving himself up, sacrifice, you get him out. And now you can lead to a big inning if you don't.
Gibson misses inside. It's 3-2. He's gotten a couple of strikeouts, and he could surely use one here.
I think Greg Allen is actually going to run right here and try to stay away from double play. I know these two guys are fast, but Lindor hits the ball hard enough to get caught in some double plays. So he's going to be moving.
And they check him at first.
And this as a player, you have to be telling yourself this in your head. Joe right here, if he hits a ground ball to first, you see Allen take off, your play is going to be to home. You've got a slow runner at third. You're not going to turn a double play because that guy steals. So why not allow the run to score? You know, you kind of pre-think that before it happens.
Runner doesn't go, and it's ball 4. So a leadoff double, and 2 plate appearances later, the bases are full, and Brantley comes up with nobody out.
This is a guy, bases loaded, no outs. quiet swing, and he just does a job. He hits the ball hard. He can really hit. Dad played in the big leagues, and maybe gave him some of that wisdom, because he's very silent at the plate. He's quiet at the plate. He scares me. The silent assassin, we used to call him, and he will get the job done.
Yeah, he never looks overmatched. He never looks overexcited. He just looks like he's in control of the at-bat, and the pressure's on the pitcher.
Sometimes I feel like he's falling asleep at the plate.
Strike call.
How quiet he is. He has 2 grand slams this season. 2 grand slams.
He's also grounded into 11 double plays.
That's because he hits the ball hard.
And he puts the ball in play. He doesn't strike out very much. He's a contact guy.
I don't think people understand double plays. Like, double plays are hit because you hit them hard. And when you hit them hard to the shortstop or to the second baseman or the third baseman, you know, you're going to be in the double play. Your job is just to hit the ball hard. Morneau had a lot of double plays because he crushed the ball.
Hit the ball hard, but I also had a lack of speed, so. I like you giving me credit for that, but most of my double plays are just because I can't run.
Well, I can tell you this. Morneau and I had a hit and run. And
Chopper to the second base bag. There's the double play, and the tying run comes in. 2 down.
That was not hit hard, but it was definitely over the plate, right. It was up the middle, right on top of the second base. It was a tailor-made out double play.
And now Ramirez with a runner at third and 2 down.
I'll be surprised if they pitch to him right here. And that's double play number 12 on the season. But a guy who's a great sinker right there at 95 miles an hour. That's probably the best pitch he's thrown all game. And at this stage in the game, you will take 2 outs for a run to avoid the big inning. Now you have to finish the job right here with this guy at the plate.
Ramirez hit a fly ball to left his first time up.
I was at the plate and Morneau just walked. He was on first base, and we had a hit and run we always put on. So I'm like, all right, this guy has a sinker. You know, he wants me to hit the ball on the ground. Morneau's at first base. So I always got back
tap the spikes.
Yeah, I tapped my spikes, and then I actually pulled my pants leg down with the back of my spikes. And he was like, he should give me a sign like, I got it. Morneau took off, and the ball was so far.
This ball hit hard to right field, hard off the wall. Kepler will turn and fire, and it's a double.
I don't know what happened right there. Kepler I guess he didn't think he was going to go and turned around, just threw it kind of soft. He didn't put any oomph into it.
It's a double and a 2-1 Cleveland lead.
And I know you've got Encarnacion behind him, but that's a situation where you really don't want to give in to that guy. And I think he was looking slider, know that his best pitch is his slider, and did a nice job of keeping that ball fair. That ball moving in towards you, you really have to pull your hands in. And like you said, it looked like maybe he lost his grip on it or whatever it was, but we know Max has got a better arm than that and usually makes a better throw than that.
So 2-1 Cleveland lead, and now Edwin Encarnacion and a ground ball to Adrianza's first time up, down and away, ball 1. Tonight's Lowe's whole team together. The Indians love hitting home runs. 150 of them. Almost half again as many as the Twins have. There's a strike on the outside corner. In the inning, a pair of doubles, a single, a bunt single, a walk. Of the bat foul. 1 and 2.
To finish my story about Morneau.
I want to hear what happened.
And
you can imagine what happened.
so the pitch was down in the dirt, and I just couldn't swing. It was so bad, but they got it, and Morneau took off, and I'm like, he's gonna get a stolen base, but it beat him by a mile.
Yeah.
And he had a bad slide in there. Oh man, I thought that was not funny, because Gardy was like, hey, don't ever do that again. You know Morneau don't run a no hit and run.
Strikeout of Encarnacion, and the Indians take a 2-1 lead. Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine for the everyday competitor in all of us. And by Northland Ford. Visit buyfordnow.com and your local Northland Ford dealer today. Indians lead it 2-1, and before we tell you about Joe Mauer's at bat and have our special guest, we've just been told that the replay system is down and there will be free challenges throughout the game, but the crew chief has to okay it. So no one lost a challenge. The Twins took a shot at getting that play turned around. Pretty much what Justin Morneau said all along.
It's nice to be right. Hopefully my wife's listening.
Torrey Hunter, Justin Morneau, Dick Bramer, joined by Derek Falvey, the chief baseball officer for the Minnesota Twins. Have you put your battery or your phone on the charger now after the trade deadline?
I think I need to, for sure. The extra battery helped the last week, that's for sure.
Well, talk about the day, and we talked about the Escobar trade when you came out to Boston, but another tough decision today because of how much equity Brian Dozier's had in this organization.
No question. I think when you're talking about guys like Brian Dozier and Eduardo Escobar that have been a big part of this organization, not just on the baseball field but in the community, these are challenging conversations. As Torrey and Justin know, we had a lot of dialogue around different iterations of trades and what things could look like, but we felt like these were the best decisions for this organization moving forward, and that's ultimately my responsibility, is to try and bring us forward to championship level baseball.
Another tapper to the right side, and Rosario's gone on one pitch. Well, let's take a look at the trades involving the Twins over the last several days. Yesterday it was Zach Duke and Lance Lynn. Today Brian Dozier and Escobar and Presley over the weekend when we were in Boston. Now the return for the Twins, and I guess the question is ultimately, was that the design all along? Prospects, and some very highly regarded prospects, but for the most part A and AA players. There are a couple of players with major league experience coming to the Twins as well, but is that what you were targeting when you envisioned making some moves?
Our goal all along was to find the best possible return. Didn't matter position, didn't matter level. We wanted to get the best possible players. I think we blended it to some degree. There was a little bit of a lean ultimately toward the A-ball level, but we felt like one thing we wanted to do was target some upside pitching, and guys like Jorge Alcala and Joan Duran, we feel like two upside starters who really have a chance to climb the ladder as a top of the rotation guy. To add those two guys to someone like Bruce Stark Gratterall, we really have an opportunity at the high end.
And one of those guys took a no-hitter into the 8th inning last night.
He did.
That we just traded for.
Yeah.
So.
It was a good debut down in Cedar Rapids. Yeah, 7 no-hit innings for him.
2-0 the count to Polanco, and now 3-0. He drew a 2-out walk in the first inning. Do you anticipate generally there being a lot of activity yet in August? Players have to clear waivers, and I know there's already some thought that someone like Andrew McCutcheon might clear waivers and might end up perhaps even with the Cleveland Indians at some point. But do you anticipate that?
Well, I think we've seen over the last few years some fairly impactful trades post deadline. Last year I think of the Justin Verlander trade to Houston and the impact that clearly had on the Astros.
Jay Bruce
for these guys here. So I would expect there will continue to be activity. We'll be active ourselves, to try and figure out if there are opportunities to help our club at the end of this year and then 2019 and beyond. There may be some unique conversations for us to have. So we will continue to monitor that and find opportunities for our club.
Inside, Polanco draws another 2-0 walk from Trevor Bauer. A flurry of deadline deals today, and some big names, including Chris Archer, going to the Pirates. And the Pirates seem to, with this move, moved their chips to the center of the table and said, let's go.
It does seem like it, that's for sure.
Wilson Ramos dealt to the Phillies. Tommy Pham, kind of the most curious trade of the day for me anyway, with Pham going to the Rays.
Yeah.
And then Jonathan Scope, another puzzler. The Brewers getting Mike Moustakas, moving Shaw to second, and now they have brought in a second baseman who they say, I guess, they may take a look at over at short. But they've got a crowded infield now in Milwaukee.
And that kind of tells me where the game's at. If we see the shifts, we see Kipnis playing in deep right field. We see Lindor on that side of second base. It's not like guys are locked in on their position. A third baseman's at third. A third baseman for about 10 plays a game is playing somewhere on the right side of second base. So it's not like Shaw hasn't been over there at all. The game has evolved kind of to this point where you need guys that can move around anywhere on the infield except for the first baseman, basically.
Morrison takes up and away, 2-0.
I think that's a great point, Justin. I think we're seeing so many players change, in terms of where they're being positioned. Maybe less. It's great to have range, no question. We all want players with range, but the more you take advantage a little bit more of the information we have, maybe you can position guys who might not have as much range, but still have the ability to good hands and good arm strength to be able to make those plays.
Saw that spray chart, StatCast AI powered by AWS. 2-0 to Logan Morrison.
I kind of look at the shift, and me as a hitter.
Short center, and Allen got a late break, but he has the speed to overcome it. You stick with us for a little bit longer?
You got it, guys.
Twins go down in the third inning. It's 2-1 Cleveland. Racing facility in the Midwest, world-class quarter-mile drag strip racing, 2.5-mile championship road course, and a 3-mile road course nestled among more than 500 lakes. Brainerd International Raceway now hosts a number of motorsport events, including drag racing, road racing, motorcycle racing, and attracts some of the most popular circuits. Find your perfect getaway at exploreminnesota.com and share your favorites with #OnlyInMN. Long time ago, I went there once in the hopes of seeing the actor Paul Newman, who used to come to Brainerd an awful lot. He was a big racing aficionado, and the closest I got to him was I was at the same race as he was. 2-1, the Indians in front, and Gibson will face Yonder Alonso. Fouled back, and it's 1-1. Derek Falvey is with us to talk about the trade deadline and life moving forward for the Twins. Let's talk a little bit about Logan Forsythe, your return at the major league level in the Dozier trade. When will he get here, and what is the plan with him moving forward?
He's taking a flight tonight out of LA. He'll be here to join our club tomorrow.
Liner to right and foul.
He'll join our club and be active for tomorrow's game.
Okay.
Logan's somebody who Derek Shelton actually has a great deal of history with from his time in Tampa. A number of other guys have been around him. He's a pro. He's been through some trades before and understands the business of this, but we feel like he's somebody who will be a positive for us.
Paul Molitor talked about Forsythe kind of could be, with all the change in the infield for the Twins, a veteran could be kind of a stabilizing force in the infield.
Yeah, no question. He's somebody who's been around some big environments, can help with some younger players. So I think that's a real welcome addition getting back here to our club.
And I don't know, you may not want to answer this or not, but with the guys that are left, the veteran guys, how do you approach them? Do you sit down with them? Do you address the whole group as to, hey, this is our plan? Or do you sit with Joe and some of the guys that have been here and say,
Mauer dives for the foul ball.
Hey, this is what we're trying to do here. We're trying to get better. Obviously, it's the last year of your contract. This is a frustrating situation for you to be in. I mean, how do you approach that sort of thing?
It's a fair question. We try and pride ourselves on communication and being open and being present. I believe leadership is about ownership and accountability. And ultimately, when we went to Boston, when we made our first set of trades, to show up the next day was to be a part of this. We want to be present. We want to have those conversations with guys, and those started in Boston and have persisted through now. I think I've always said all along, we believe in partnership among front office and ownership, front office and coaching staff and players, and we need to partner on this. Now, ultimately, we had to make some difficult business decisions, but that shouldn't change anything about how these guys go about their business, and they should always feel like there's an open door to have that conversation.
There's one thing about, trade deadlines and people coming and going. You build those foundations.
Great stop by Mauer on the backhand side. One away.
Wow.
How is that not a Gold Glove first right there? I don't know.
Wow.
I'm with you there.
That's a tough hop. He moved him to his left, so you're ready for a ball going down the line, and all of a sudden he hits a rocket the other way. And just good soft hands, athletic, and runs over there, take it yourself, and doing what he does well. He's done so well since moving to first base.
Well, what I was saying about guys coming and going, that's going to happen in these guys' lives for the rest of their career. I don't know how long their careers are going to be, but you do build those relationships with guys. And you saw Dozier earlier leaving the stadium, the video of him and his wife leaving the stadium. Escobar, the guys were tearing up in the clubhouse over Escobar for sure. But those are relationships that are there. They're always going to be there. The game keeps going no matter what, so you have to play, you have to perform. Not only do you perform for the Minnesota Twins, you perform for the last name that's on the back of your jersey. You got to go out there and represent your family. They've sacrificed everything for you to play the game. Right now it's not that time to be emotional. That's why we're professionals, because we do anything that we need to do. No matter what's going on in our lives, we play the game the right way. Doctors and lawyers, no matter what's going on in their lives, they have to save lives. They have to help someone get what they need back as an attorney. So those are professionals. When you're a professional, you do what you have to do. And I think these guys are starting to get an understanding. Molitor had a great meeting with those guys and helped them see perspective.
3-1 the count to Melky Cabrera with one gone here in the fourth inning. Off the end of the bat, another broken bat. And Adrianza duns it over to Mauer. I want to ask you about Tyler Austin, who made quite an impression on the Twins when he was with the Yankees in April. And if I understand what I've been reading on Twitter here tonight, he had a home run tonight already for Rochester. Tell us about him and what you imagine the timeline will be for him.
He's a power-oriented right-handed bat, and he's been up to the big leagues. He's had some good swings, as you saw here. Against us earlier this year, did some damage. So we feel like he's somebody who can impact us sooner rather than later.
And every time I see him swing, I have to look twice to make sure it's not Josh Willingham. I mean, his swing and the way his face, his eyebrow, all that stuff. He's standing in the batter's box, and that's a guy who had a career year in this ballpark as a right-handed hitter. He's a guy, hopefully, that will get up here. With how many left-handed bats we have, it's a nice addition to be able to have a guy like that with some power and a threat at the plate.
I do think adding that kind of player that we have, with an option here to work for a little while there in Rochester and see what we have at some point up here, that's a chance. He was a little bit blocked in New York, and this gives him a real chance.
That will miss the bag.
Close.
Twins had a pull shift on for Kipnis, and it was fair for 89 feet.
And Gibson will look over to the ground screw over there in the first base dugout in the tunnel and give him a thumbs up saying thanks for making that foul line tilt just enough for that ball to go foul.
Look at this.
But that's a smart play by Kipnis.
Yeah, it is. It's a great play.
And he didn't need to be that fine. There's nobody over there, so now he's got himself in an 0-2 count. That's the only danger of bunting in an 0-1 count, is if you don't get it down, now Gibson's in control the rest of the at-bat, and he's battling the rest of the way.
That third base line is tilting to the left, right?
Downhill into the dugout.
And an upstairs fastball strikes him out. Derek, get some rest. Thank you for coming by again, and we'll see what August brings for the Twins. the other 29 teams.
Appreciate you guys.
All right.
The Twins manufacture it. Adrianza gets the bunt down. Jake Cave comes up, doesn't try and do too much, lifts a fly ball to the outfield. Twins go up 1-0. You see in the next half of the inning, Indians have the same situation. Twins fail to get it out on a bunt, and then you have one of the most dangerous hitters in baseball come up, hit a missile off the wall, and drive in another run, and that's where we're at right now. The last guy you want to see at the plate with anybody on base right there. So Twins need to answer here and come back and get back in this game before Bauer really settles in.
Kepler will lead things off, then Sano and Adrianza.
You guys were talking about Tyler Austin and big right-handed guy, look like Josh Willingham. But I think it really helps to know he has nobody to look at before him or even after him and know what these pitchers are trying to do. Like Kepler got Joe Mauer. He can look at Joe Mauer and see what this pitcher's trying to do to him, and then he's going to pretty much try to do the same thing to Kepler. Sano has no one, no big-handed, big righty, no big, strong righty that can really do some damage from the right side that he can look at. And when he gets up there, he's the first big power guy that's right-handed, and they pitch him differently. So he has nobody to look at before he gets to the plate. So it's going to be, if he gets here, it's going to be awesome for Sano. He get a chance to see what they're trying to do to him with the same body type as Sano.
And that's a great point, because I talk about that all the time, the benefit of hitting behind Joe Mauer for so many years, getting to see what the pitcher's trying to do, see how he's trying to attack the left-handed hitters in front of me. So I never thought of it from the right-handed side from him. There really isn't anybody the same threat in the lineup as Miguel Sano is. And Buxton looked like he had a chance to start being that guy in the second half of last year and didn't get off to the great start this year. Not saying he can't, but yeah.
Checked his swing, and it's 3-2. They'll appeal. And Sano will hit next after this at bat. Kepler trying to get aboard. The Twins have had the leadoff man on only once. That was when Sano cracked his double leading off the second.
2-3-2 pitches his first at bat. He threw him 2 fastballs, 96 and 97 miles an hour. We'll see what he does this time.
Popped up, and it'll spin back over the Cleveland dugout.
Goes back to that 97-mile-an-hour fastball. It must be nice to have that in your back pocket, to sit there and go, all right, I've got my breaking ball, I've got confidence in my curveball, but when I need it and when I need to reach back for it, I've got 96 or 97 to throw past you.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's why his numbers are so good. That's why he's been one of the most dominant pitchers in baseball in the month of July. And Twins are finding that out tonight.
Another 32. Popped up. This one playable for Ramirez.
97.
One down, and that'll bring up Sano.
And here's what Bauer can do to you as a right-hander. He throws that slider or slurve. It's like a slider or a curveball. It varies in speed, and it breaks pretty well. He's very confident in throwing it, and also good at placing it right there on the outside corner. And when he wants to finish you 0-2 or 1-2, he throws it in the dirt. It seems like everybody checks swings on that thing. You can see where it's 41% fastball, curveball 28%, which I think is pretty high. So I'm pretty sure Sano is somewhere in the vicinity. Right there, there it is.
Quicker breaking ball and off the plate, ball one.
It's a candidate.
It's interesting. He hit his breaking ball. It looked like he was sitting on it last time up, and Bauer still has confidence in that pitch that he comes back and goes right back after him with it. So we'll see how Sano's approach is after he hit it the first time.
That's pretty much the same pitch he hit.
And it looked to me like he was thinking fastball there. The front side came off. His front hip, his front foot went towards the third base line like he thought it was going to be a fastball in. So we'll see how Sano learns as this game goes on, and these are the adjustments you have to make as a major league hitter to figure out how those pitchers are trying to get you out.
It might have been a backup slider. That's
7 on the corner.
Tough. You won't do anything with that pitch at all, even if you swing.
No, from up here, I'd say you couldn't do anything with it because it wasn't a strike.
That was a fastball away.
6 inches outside.
That's CP.
And then it's Bobby Wilson's strike 3. We'll see if Bobby Wilson's able to set up out there and he's getting those pitches too. As a catcher, you turn around and sometimes you say, hey, we want that pitch too for our guy. You won't, as long as you're calling it for both sides. But if it's not, if it's only their guy getting it, that's when you start to get really angry in that dugout as a catcher.
Sano tried to tee off on a 97-mile-per-hour fastball, got a piece, still 2-2.
But that ball looked like it was just off the plate, and as a hitter, he's shown that he's going to call that pitch. You know, instead of being in a 3-2 count, he feels like he has to swing at it or he's going to strike out looking. So sometimes how that strike zone, pitch is called affect your.
Sano takes a breaking ball for ball 3.
That's awesome for him to take that pitch right there because that broke pretty hard.
And how many times over the last year and a half have we seen the check swing strike 3? At least on that one, he was able to check in time. Full count with one gone here in the 4th.
He has to throw a fastball because he checked. That's a ball.
That's exactly where strike 2 was.
Might have been worse.
And Sano, good little thing going here last couple games with 2 hits and a walk last night and a hit and a walk already tonight. Join Fox Sports North and your favorite Minnesota pro sports teams for United Way Action Day, an all-ages, family-friendly volunteer event on Thursday, August 9th. Register now to help pack 25,000 backpacks with school supplies for Minnesota kids. And if you can't make it, you can still make a difference, donating $28 that provides a backpack of supplies to a child in need. Visit gtcuw.org/action day to register to volunteer or donate. Here's Adrianza. It's a little breaking ball and it's over for a strike. And we need to make the distinction here between the quicker breaking balls that Sano saw through most of his at bat and the slower one now that he opened up with Adrianza in the upper 70s rather than the 87 or whatever it was that Sano saw.
Yeah, and he's got the kind of, they call it a get me over, where you're trying to throw it for a strike.
Another one.
And then you got a better one where you try and bury it in the dirt. And if you show a guy that you're able to throw for a strike, then you can get him to chase the breaking ball. But if you're bouncing every curveball you throw, guys aren't going to chase it. But if you show him, okay, I can get I'm going to throw him first pitch breaking ball, I get ahead in the count. Now I've got him where I want him because I can bounce it, and they're aware that it might be in the strike zone. By the time you read it, it's out of the zone, and you're walking back to the dugout.
And he fouled off that breaking ball.
I honestly think that Miguel Sano could be a 5-2 player. I think he can run. I think he can field. I think he can throw, hit for power, and he can hit for average. I think this offseason he really needs to evaluate himself and maybe change his diet, change different things. If he gets to a point where he's 230, 240, he's going to steal bags, hit for power, and he's going to do things that people are going to be like, wow, this guy is unbelievable. We're talking about Mike Trout type stuff. He doesn't play the outfield, but
his all-around game. I mean, he had Tommy John. He's got one of the best infield arms in the game.
Unbelievable.
He's got as much power as anybody. And Bauer's been getting that pitch off the plate.
Oh yeah, you can't do that to the umpire.
I love it. Pitchers get so many calls, and then when they feel like they miss one, they lose their mind on the mound. It's like the game favors the pitchers 100% in my opinion. And one time we miss a strike or feel like we miss a strike, it's a big deal.
There's strike 3.
How you complain and then get a pitch?
And that'll bring up Jake Cave.
Piece of wrench for the win against Trevor Bauer. Don't miss the bus. Don't miss your pitch. It's actually, if it's right down the middle, you better swing, because he has a lot of stuff to kind of get you to swing and miss.
And attack the fastball. His breaking ball is so good. I remember hearing Delman Young was talking to his brother Dimitri about hitting. He said, hey, how do you hit the split? He said, don't miss the fastball.
And there's strike 1.
So there's your fastball down the middle right there, and you're probably not going to get another one that good to hit because he's got you. He's ahead in the count now. He gets you to chase his breaking ball. So best way to hit the breaking ball, don't miss the fastball.
He's topped in the major league, huh, Dick, as far as chase and
he and Gibson are both high on the list. Cave swings and misses on the off-speed pitch, and it's 0-2.
But back to Sano, I mean, when I first saw him, I thought he could be Miguel Cabrera with the amount of power to the opposite field, with his ability to hit the ball all over the ballpark, drive the ball out of the ballpark, and that's a high label to put on him, but he still has that potential.
Check swing 1-2.
I had Matt Kemp in Texas. He moved to Texas this offseason, right next to Latroy Hawkins, and I gave him my chef, and he lost 52 pounds. 52 pounds, and they rejuvenated him. He's 33. He went out to the Dodgers, and actually he's having a better year.
About as well as he ever has.
Yeah, and made All-Star.
1-2.
He's just eating all natural foods, and he's eating every 3 hours to kind of burn that the calories. And
eating every 3 hours. I got that part down.
Well, you got to eat the right thing.
Oh, is that? Oh,
yeah.
Oh, I thought, well, I'm halfway there already.
Yeah, you don't eat every 3 hours a big meal like barbecue.
Yeah, no, okay.
But it does. I think that's something that in the minor leagues has to start, and I feel like it's getting better. But you need to teach guys, because when you're young, you can eat anything. You don't put any weight on it. You don't realize how it impacts your energy and everything else.
And called third strike, sending Cave back to the dugout. On to the 5th. It's 2-1 Cleveland. Fans of the game enjoying another gorgeous night. Man, I just love summer nights like this here. I think about them often in January when I'm behind my snowblower. And so glad that we are playing out here. I told Torrey last night I was so glad that he came back to the Twins and was able to play in this ballpark one year. I wish you could have done the same, although you came back What, the home run derby and the All-Star game, right? You came here in 2014.
No, I came back with Chicago too.
That's
played
right.
as a visitor.
That's right. Yeah.
But yeah,
I refuse to acknowledge that you ever played for the Chicago.
yeah. I'll never hear the end of that one.
Roberto Perez.
Unbelievable. I couldn't believe you went over there.
Hey, somebody says you want a job, you want to play.
I went to the Tigers. I don't know.
I enjoyed my time there. I really did. It was fun.
I hated the Tigers. I hated the White Sox. You know, I couldn't believe I went there to play, but I was trying to win.
Rivals, but
taken low, 2-1. It'll be Perez, Allen, and Lindor in the 5th inning for Cleveland. And a 3/4 swing. When we heard that Byron Buxton injured his wrist or tweaked his wrist because of some awkward swings, that's the type of swing I first imagined, kind of a half check swing, and the bat comes through and your wrist does rotate through, but you're trying to stop it and it goes through anyway. I don't know, I wasn't there, but
if I know Buxton check swung on a pitch and his wrist, he tried to hold it, but he played.
yeah,
He had 2 more at bats after that, and he tried to stay in the game. That's something that he does. He tries to stay in no matter what. He can have a broken toe. He's going to play 5 more games. So I can see that happening, making it worse.
Roberto Perez doubled in his first time up, but he came into the game hitting just 145, and Gibson issues a leadoff walk. MLB At Bat is your #1 Twins app. You can customize your experience to catch every moment this season. Get Twins home screen icons and features such as the MLB.TV Game of the Day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live radio broadcasts, stats, news, and more. Download MLB At Bat today.
we'll see if Greg Allen squares around a bunt again. A sacrifice situation right here.
Outside a ball.
And some people look at it and go, okay, why would he not bunt right here? Well, Lindor's probably their Ramirez, but one of their best hitters. But if they bunt, they're probably just going to walk him.
Yeah, you know, the first at bat, that first pitch, that first bunt, I think it was the third base coach would give you a sign like try to bunt for a hit.
Correct, foul.
And the second one was the sack bunt.
Yep.
Well, you were talking before about the Milwaukee situation and the acquisition of Scope and the rotation that they're using to defend acquiring 2 infielders this late in the season. But the 2-run 3rd inning was opened up because Adrianza hadn't played much second base for the Twins, and he was not accustomed to getting to the bag in time to make a play on that bunt. So yeah, on the surface that all sounds well and good, but Adrianza, when he's played almost exclusively here the last couple of years, it's been on the left side of the infield, not the right.
Right.
And it's not the easiest thing to do to move around the diamond like that, a place where you're not comfortable, and a lot more bunts in the National League. And you're going to have Shaw with a pitcher batting and sacrifice bunts and all that. Shaw's going to have to be covering first base a lot. It'll be interesting because in baseball you can move guys around. I wonder if they at some point will just move Shaw over and let Scoop go over to second in those bunt situations, so it's easier for him to cover a guy who's accustomed to doing it, because you can move guys anytime you want. It's not like you're
Loop to the left, and Allen has followed Perez's opening at bats in the 2nd or 3rd, and now here in the 5th inning with a base hit. He's got a pair of hits tonight. And it's good to see Trevor May back here. Saw him in the dugout here before batting practice today, and he missed all of last year after Tommy John surgery. And his role yet defined. He's number 65, doing some yoga. Isn't that yoga?
Yeah. I saw him at the hotel in the lobby when he was checking in, and he was pretty pumped up. Mr. Fortnite. That's all he plays is Fortnite.
Here's Lindor, a strikeout and a walk, and a check swing, strike 1.
And it's a long road back. That Tommy John is a lot of hours in the training room, a lot of doubt. You know, you got to keep the big picture in mind. Those days where you're just doing these monotonous exercises over and over and over again, trying to get that range of motion and strength back. And it's always good to see a guy return from injury, make it back to the big leagues. And hopefully you see him as good as he was before, even better velocity-wise and all the rest of it. So it's got to be a good feeling to be back up here in a big league bullpen right now.
There's a reason it's usually pitchers who get it. Kyle Gibson went through it in the minor leagues. 1 strike to Lindor. And a breaking ball down and in. When a position player gets it, like Miguel Sano, like Alex Kirilloff in the Twins system, he went through it last year. Well, then you build up arm strength, and you don't have to have the pitching touch as a position player that you do if you're Trevor May. Francisco Liriano went through it. You've got to do all the rehab, and then you hope you can rediscover that feel. Joe Mays never recovered from it. He had the velocity, but he never was able to recapture his effectiveness because his arm strength was fine, but the feel was gone.
And you're pitching with basically a new body part in your elbow, and you're trying to figure it out. Joe Nathan went through it twice.
Right.
You know, I always say I've never seen anyone work as hard as I saw Joe Nathan in his comeback from that Tommy John surgery. It was amazing.
Dribbled toward the mound, and May will get the force out at third. And Sano thinks about a double play at first. Kyle Gibson, I should say, came off the mound to flip to Sano. So 1 down, and double play still in order for Michael Brantley.
And that's good instincts and a good job of a pitcher recognizing you have nobody out. Go ahead and take that out at third base. Keep that guy out of the sac fly situation. You know, somebody who's maybe not as good an athlete as Gibson goes after that ball and just turns and throws it to first. But the ball's taking him that way. Doesn't panic. Knows that he doesn't have to rush because all he's going to do is get one out right there. And that's a veteran guy on the mound, not panicking in a situation like that. Now he's still got the double play in order. Fly ball to the outfield, doesn't score a run. All it does is maybe move the guys up. So that's a good instinctual play by Kyle Gibson right there.
Brantley hit into a double play in the 3rd inning. Indians still got 2 runs. And a tapper foul.
That's a smart first pitch by Kyle Gibson right there. Brantley's the guy who stays inside the ball very well. You got Polanco shaded a little bit towards the base at second. There's a big hole at short, and Brantley so well stays up the middle and drives the ball the other way. Well, the way to counter that is to throw a slider down and in. A guy who likes to stay inside the ball can't really do a whole lot of that. And when you do that, it usually ends up as a ground ball to second base. So that was a smart pitch right there to set up the rest of the at bat.
1 strike to Brantley. Could be another double play. Too slowly hit. They do get the force at second. And more soft contact. And a nice pitch by Gibson.
And Gibson had him inside conscious right there after that slider down and in. It looked like Brantley pulled off that ball just a little bit and then ends up hitting it off the end, gets weak contact.
Now base is open, but it's second base, and Ramirez, who hit 2 home runs in the ball game last night and drove a double down the right field line in the 3rd. Brantley a threat to steal. Wilson's given his signs as to a throw, if there is one, where it will go.
And sometimes, as we've talked about in the past, Jeff Smith, the first base coach, also gives the signs of when they're going to throw over, when Gibson's going to slide step. You know, when you do that, sometimes you won't even give the slide step to allow Brantley to take off, and then it opens up the base, and he's able to either intentionally walk or pitch around Ramirez. And,
yeah.
You know, sometimes you'll go, okay, why would you let him get in the scoring position? Well, in this situation, you look at it, who would you rather face? And facing Edwin Encarnacion with the bases loaded is not a treat.
It's scary.
But the guy who's at the plate right now is one of the best hitters in baseball. So pick your poison in a way, but righty-righty matchups may be a little better.
Just off the outside corner, despite Bobby Wilson trying to frame it and hold it. And he looks over his right shoulder. Might have had a word or two with C.B. Buckner. Where was this pitch?
And this is where the frustration comes in. This pitch has been called for Trevor Bauer 3 or 4 times today, and Kyle Gibson makes a perfect pitch. And it's not like it was out of the zone the whole way. That pitch started in the strike zone.
Now 2-0. Soft away. 2-0.
Probably a slider right here if he gives him anything to hit.
Well, you got the right side loaded, so I mean, the hitter would actually think. I would think that the hitter would know that he's going to throw an off speed or a 2-seamer, so to get him to roll over. And look at that hole over on the left side.
3-0 fastball.
So the mindset is, I know he's a great hitter, but I'm pretty sure he wants to hit that ball on that left side. But I don't think Cal Gibson's going to allow him to do it.
And he should be green lighted right here, 3-0. I don't see why he wouldn't. So we'll see if he swings from his heels right here.
He does, and a liner to right. Kepler traps it. It's a base hit, not hit well, and it died in front of Max Kepler. It's a 3-1 ball game. Allen scoring from third.
And I think when Kyle Gibson looks back at this start, hopefully Twins find a way to come back in this game. But you go through a lineup and you say, okay, who's not going to beat us today? And the guy that you really don't want to let beat you has 2 big run scoring hits in a situation where you didn't really have to give in to him. You have a base open to kind of give him something to hit right there. After you've shown you throw him change up, and then a fastball way off the plate. There's no reason to give in right there and throw him a strike. And a great hitter gets a hit in this situation where you maybe didn't have to.
Encarnacion hadn't been squaring up his balls either. So you're right, Mono. You just have to kind of go after Encarnacion. You don't want to go after the hottest hitter in baseball, one of the best hitters in baseball.
And a one-hopper to Mauer. And Encarnacion takes his bat with him to first base. The inning ends. The Indians add another one. It's 3-1. Orthopedic Urgent Care open 8 to 8 daily. It's also July 31st. The trade deadline passed at 3 p.m. Central Time. And on this date back in 1989, probably one of the most controversial trade deadline trades that the Twins made, but also one of the most beneficial, the trade of Frank Viola to the New York Mets. And the Twins got 5 pitchers back. All 5 pitched at the big league level, and 3 had enough impact to be a part of the '91 World Championship team. Twins got Rick Aguilera, of course, who was the closer on the '91 team. David West, who was the notable minor leaguer who came along. He was supposed to be the featured player in that trade, a hard-throwing left-hander, and he was on the '91 team. But the player no one had ever heard of, and he had a tremendous career, Kevin Tapani.
Face Kevin Tapani.
Tapani went on to star for some other teams as well, but he was a big part of that '91 team. 1-1 to Bobby Wilson here in the 5th inning. Mauer and Rosario will follow.
And as hard as it is to see Brian Dozier go and see some of the guys go, you're hoping that same thing happens with this team.
Yeah.
In a couple of years, we're seeing those guys up here, and there's 11, 12 guys brought back, and you hope all of them make it to the big leagues, but I think even if 3 or 4 of them make it to the big leagues and have an impact, that's a successful trade deadline in my opinion. You want them all to get here, but when you're able to turn in guys who are going to be free agents in 2 months into guys that you have under control in the big leagues for 6 or 7 years, that's a positive, and hopefully some plus arms down there, some good hitters. They come up here, and it's always hard to tell a trade when it immediately happens, but you look at it a few years from now, hopefully they're deemed successful trades.
Well, at the very least, the competition in the minor leagues now in the Twins organization has gotten a lot tougher.
Yeah.
And you guys went through it. Just from a distance, it seems like that, rising tide will raise all boats. And when you've got tougher competition for jobs laddered through the system, that's going to benefit the system as a whole. Let's go to Kevin Gord.
Guys, the trade deadline with Brian Dozier being moved. Joe Mauer met with the media and talked about a conversation he had with Brian Dozier and said he spends more time with his teammates than he does his family. If you're a baseball player, you forget about that. He said really enjoyed getting to know Brian and Brian's family and all the charity work these guys have done off the field. And he's been a Brian Dozier fan, watching this guy grow into the baseball player he is. He said he'll be a Brian Dozier fan now down the stretch, cheering for Dozier and the Dodgers in the National League. But Joe was visibly upset and saddened by the news. He understands it's a business. He said when the game starts, he'll be ready to go. But a tough day for Joe Mauer and a lot of the Twins to see one of their leaders go.
Well, thank you, Kevin. Meanwhile, the Twins have just 1 hit against Trevor Bauer. It was Sano's double, but he has walked 4 men and hit 1. And he's walked Bobby Wilson to start the 5th inning. Here's Mauer, who's lined to right and grounded to second.
And you hope the Twins are able to do the same thing that the Indians were able to do with those walks. Find a way to get them to come around and score anytime lead off walk. I know that's one of your favorite.
Yeah, 40% of the time they score.
So,
lead off walk in the inning.
And it's amazing that both catchers have been walked. Both guys hitting under 200, obviously in the game for what they do defensively, and nothing against them. But they've both been walked in this game and had an impact on this game. And hopefully the same thing.
To the left field corner, Brantley chasing it. He's able to catch the second line drive out off the bat of Mauer, 1 away. Good positioning by the Indian outfield. They had Brantley tucked away in the corner to start with, 1 down.
That was actually a nice swing by Mauer.
Is there ever not a nice swing?
I mean, he has a beautiful swing, man, and he went with the pitch.
Eddie Rosario with 2 groundouts to second. So yeah, with all the traffic in the last few days, I think a lot of Twins fans would agree with me. I can be okay if the Houston Astros win the World Series, because I really like Ryan Presley and I thought he was a great asset to the Twins organization. I'm okay with if Seattle wins it. Zach Duke wasn't here a full year, but he was a big part of what happened here. Great guy. Denard Span also on the Mariners. I'm fine with the Dodgers winning it. It'd be a great opportunity for Brian Dozier, who's a wonderful guy. And who would want to see Eduardo Escobar win a World Series with the Diamondbacks? But I cannot wish anything good to happen to Lance Lynn and the Yankees. I can't do it.
Not personally because of Lance Lynn, but
that has nothing to do with Lance Lynn.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no. I want to make that clear. I got along great with Lance.
Oh boy,
I cannot do that.
I didn't know where you were going with that.
1-1.
We've seen enough misery at the hands of
Yankees
in this organization. So
lifted down the left field line. It's got a little bit of carry, but it's going to twist foul.
I tried to throw a piece of jalapeno pepper at you, like no.
But it is. I mean, it's especially in the other leagues. When if you're in the American League and one of your teammates gets traded to the National League, you don't feel as bad cheering for that guy. When it's somebody in your league and you look at it and you go, man, I feel like we were better than that team, and all of a sudden you see him win, it becomes painful. The White Sox one will always be the most painful one for me, because I always felt like that was the team we like to beat and we could compete with them on any day, and to see them win a World Series and we never achieved that as a team was always hard for me.
Hot smash. Alonso with a nice pickup and safe at first. Rosario beat out the relay. 2 down. And that'll bring up Polanco. Join the Twins season ticket holder family today. Get the best seats at the best price and be instantly enrolled in the Sweet Spot Benefits and Rewards program. Benefits include a 10% discount on food, beverage, and merchandise, early entry on select dates to watch Twins batting practice and much more. Visit twinsbaseball.com/season tickets to learn more. Here is Polanco. Bauer has walked him twice. .84 pitches for Bauer and his strike percentage of 56. That's right about the same strike percentage of Gibson.
And the difference has been
hits.
Jose Ramirez.
Yeah.
You know, the one guy you don't want to let beat you. He's had the big hits, driven in 2. And the Twins haven't been able to take advantage of all these walks. They've left guys on base, and that's the difference between a first place team and a second place team is getting those hits when you need them, timely hitting and pitching.
1-0 to Polanco. Well, should be pointed out here, the 2 balls hit here in the 5th inning have been hit pretty hard. Bauer's liner to left, Rosario's smash to Alonso, and now it's 2-0 to Polanco.
And I call that the joys of being a hitter. You can do everything right and still not get rewarded.
You just told me you were more interested in the process than the result. You were on the public airwaves and you said that about 3 innings ago.
True.
It's still frustrating.
Little pop up left side. And Lindor wants it. He closes out the 5th inning. It's 3-1 Cleveland. A message for the opportunity to be featured in the Minnesota Lottery Winner Circle during the broadcast and receive $100 in scratch tickets. With the Minnesota Lottery, every day is game day.
If you won the lottery, what would you do?
Buy the Twins. That way wouldn't be enough, would it?
Then what would you do? Don't answer that.
I'd sign me to a lifetime contract.
Oh my!
That'd be the first thing I'd do, just so I could work with you guys.
Would you actually want to? Would you do like a Brewster's Millions and try and actually get in that bat?
That would not end well. I don't think I'd do that. That's what the fantasy camp is for.
There you go.
High fly center field. Cave is out there and he has to retreat to the edge of the track for the catch. 1-1. Mentioned Gibson's strike percentage. It's kind of an important thing. Pitchers try to throw 2 strikes to every ball, and in more and more ballparks they display that for fans, which I think is one of the most important parts of the information that's available. You can see Bauer with the 4th ranked ERA, Gibson's 11th, both with low opponent batting averages. And while Gibson's strike percentage has been better, it's about what it was in his outstanding start against the Red Sox. He threw 120 pitches, but only 67 strikes. And yet he only walked 2 people. It was a function of the Red Sox patiently working him just about every at bat, it seemed, but he was able to complete 8 innings and pick up his 5th win.
And I'll be surprised if he's able to get through this inning, because I can't see him letting him go much more than 95 pitches with how many pitches he threw his last start.
Right. Dribbled foul 1 and 2.
But not anybody up throwing right now. Guys are moving around. They're getting ready. They know that call's coming pretty soon. But
what's Eddie looking at?
The distance. Just looking off in the distance.
You saw that? He was looking up.
1 and 2.
Eddie, what are you looking at?
You know, he's probably wondering what he's going to wear for Johan Santana's induction.
Well, he'll have his Hall of Fame jacket on, won't he?
That's right, the Twins Hall of Fame blazer. I hadn't thought about that.
I could see. Can you imagine what's going through that brain of his?
I don't think anybody can.
It's not good.
2 down here in the 6th. Jason Kipnis will bat next. Thursday, August 16th. It's NDSU night at Target Field. A limited number of NDSU theme night ticket packages are available that include a game ticket and a Justin Morneau. See if you were paying attention last night. How do you pronounce that?
Bison.
Wrong. Bison. It's bison. They're
bison.
Bison.
Well, blame it on my Canadian accent.
Okay.
How's that?
Going to learn more at twinsbaseball.com/NDSU or call 800-33-TWINS. 1 strike to Kipnis. 0 for 2 with a ground out and a strikeout. Hook foul. It'll be a special night here. Torrey, you experienced it a couple years ago, being inducted into the Twins Hall of Fame, and Justin, you'll experience it eventually too.
Yes.
It's a very special brotherhood, and really thrilled for Johan to join that club. 2 strikes.
It's called Twins Heaven. Welcome, Johan.
There's some exclusive company in that group. Hall of Famers. You know, it's not just, you don't just get in that because you played. You get in that because you've done something special. And deservedly so. What Johan did. You know, the thing that shocked me about Johan was how he didn't stay on the Hall of Fame ballot. For a guy who was dominant over a 10-year stretch as he was, and injury was more the reason that his career ended than anything. And he, Cy Young's, and even the year 05 that Bartolo won, or 04, whatever it was, a lot of people thought he should have won that year too. I mean, he was as dominant as anybody in baseball.
He hadn't retired yet.
Deep down the right field line near the pole, but foul.
Johan he hasn't retired yet, so his I don't think so.
I don't think he's officially retired.
Right. 2 strikes.
Yeah, I think he was below the 5% needed to stay on that ballot. So whether you say you're retired or not, it's the time from your last game, and he had all those comeback attempts, but he didn't pitch in the big leagues. So I think that's why he was eligible this year, and it was unfortunate to see him fall off like that.
Pass ball up and in. Told many people, I've mentioned it on the air, the 06 team, when Liriano went down, and at the time Johan was the 2nd best left-handed starter on the team.
Oh my goodness. Johan was not #1.
And he won the Cy Young that year.
And he won the Cy Young award, but in part because Francisco Liriano blew out. But if you had somehow been able to go into the playoffs.
I was with Nick Punto on the weekend, and we talked about it because we saw Katse, and we went, "He's the last guy I ever want to see inside the park home run."
Right.
You know, that team was so hot, it was just shocking to us when that thing ended.
2-2. And a called 3rd strike, and Alonso Kipnis thinks it was inside. A 1-2-3-6 for Gibson. Miguel Sano has the only Twins hit so far, and he will hit in the 6th inning. the #1 selling brand in the Twin Cities. By Grant Casino, the best stories start here. And by Wisconsin Dells, the water park capital of the world. Paul Molitor told us as much in his session with the media that the 120 pitches in his last outing might crimp Gibson a little bit here tonight. And it looks like Gibson has been told that he's going to be done after 6 effective innings, his 3rd really good start against the Cleveland Indians this year. Middle of the Twins lineup now facing Bauer, Morrison, Kepler, and Sano. Morrison takes a fastball over the inside corner.
Bauer's done a nice job of throwing first pitch strikes. As much as he hasn't had his best command, he has worked ahead in the count, and that's really the only reason he's still able to pitch into this game with only giving up 1 hit.
Tap foul, 2 strikes.
If you get ahead in the, if he gets ahead in the count, his off speed plays way better. You know, now you're trying to fight off the off speed and wait for your pitch. You can't really wait for your pitch when you feel like you're behind in the count. You're fighting your way uphill.
0-2 to Morrison. Hit by a pitch in the first, hit a fly ball to center in the 3rd. High fly to right center field. Deep to the gap. And gone! A home run for Logan Morrison. Number 14, and it's a 1-run game.
It looked like he got himself a hanging breaking ball right there, and he didn't miss it to the deepest part of the ballpark. That's not an easy place to go out at night. You've seen a couple balls hit off that wall, and he crushed that ball. That'll get the boys fired up in the dugout, get everyone back in, and hopefully find a way to score another run and get Kyle Gibson off the hook.
Yeah, he left a breaking pitch up. That was a hanger. I'm pretty sure that was a mistake pitch, and Logan Morrison made him pay for it. He hit that pretty high and over the fence. Doesn't matter how far it goes, as long as it goes over that home run line.
Now Kepler pulls a base hit to right on the first pitch. Well, the Twins held to just 1 hit through 5 innings. And the 6th inning opens up with a home run and a single.
And with how erratic Bauer's been in this game, I won't be surprised if Francona gets somebody up pretty quick here in the bullpen, where every game matters and home field advantage matters. From this point out, the Cleveland Indians are basically trying to play playoff baseball because they need every win they can get. So if they play those other division winners in the playoffs and they make it deep, they want to be able to have home field advantage.
Logan Morrison's home run was 390 feet. Doesn't matter.
I love those, the ones that just go over the wall.
They hit the back of the wall.
Here's Sano. Half swing on the breaking ball. So far in this series, Sano has reached 5 of his 6 plate appearances, 3 hits and 2 walks.
Whenever Bauer gets in trouble, he has base runners, special runners in scoring position, he goes straight to that slider.
That's just a fastball for show right there. That's the wild strike, and it is exactly what you were talking about earlier. If he's throwing you a fastball, he doesn't want to give you something to hit. He's trying to crowd you to open up the outside part of the plate. Now he go back to the breaking ball, try and get him to roll over on a ground ball to short for a double play ball.
Yep. And he's going to hang it, and Sano's going to crush it.
Pulled to 3rd. 5, 4, 3. Nice double play started by Ramirez, 2 down.
And unfortunately, we were both right on that one. He did hit that ball decently, but didn't stay back on it enough. Caused him to back off the plate. He was conscious of the inside part of the plate and then rolls over. Opened up just a little bit early, hits it off the end of the bat, rolls over, and double play.
Here's a slider. It stayed out over the plate, but it kind of backed up on him, so he had to kind of get around it, and he hit it pretty hard. That's the only way they got that double play, because he crushed it.
And now Adrianza laid down a sacrifice bunt in the 2nd and was called out on strikes in the 4th.
And that's an at bat. He threw him the fastball. He showed him the fastball. As a young hitter, it's sometimes really hard to get off that fastball and convince yourself that he's going to throw you a breaking ball for a strike, because as a young hitter, you're taught to never miss the fastball, never get off the fastball in the minor leagues, because it's the only thing they can really throw over consistently for a strike.
Yeah.
But a guy like this who can get his breaking ball over, occasionally you go up there and you just sit on it.
Pulled weakly to the right side. And Alonso to the bag. That ends it. But Morrison started the inning with a home run. And it's a 1-run game, 3-2 Cleveland.
And here's Cal Gibson, man. They're going 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 6 strikeouts in over 6 innings. And Ramirez had a couple big hits. Once again, they had 2 home runs last night. Big double right there and a big single right here with scoring getting the RBI. So yes, a double and a single. And Lomo hitting a home run, cutting that lead down by 1. Got a chance to get it back. Hopefully Bilal can kind of come in here and shut those guys down.
And the Twins their record in 1-run games this year is not very good. And a lot of times it comes down, as Paul Muller's talked about, executing the fundamentals. And they're down the inning. They didn't get the out on the bunt play. They didn't get it out. That run came around to score, and that's the difference in the ball game. Really, the Twins got the bunt down, but they didn't get a base run out of it. Indians got the bunt down. They got an extra base runner, and Twins are down by 1.
Roberto Perez threatens to bunt. He's feeling it tonight. He's got a double, a run scored. He drew a walk. Yeah, the Twins, you were being kind. They're 7 and 18 in 1-run ball games.
And that's all it's fundamentals and doing the little things to win ball games. And once again, we saw it early in this game tonight. Didn't get it out on a bunt. Down by 1.
Fly ball right field. Kepler retreats, still on the grass. 1 down. Well, obviously the Twins bullpen has undergone a major makeover. The holdovers are Hildenberger, Rodney, McGill. Reed just activated from the disabled list, his rehab assignment. Moya just added. Trevor May activated today. With Zach Duke gone.
There's opportunity there for a lot of guys. Some of these guys who have been in the organization for a while, some been bounced back and forth between the big leagues and the minor leagues. You got to find out sometimes what you have. You have potential and talent, but can they get it done at the big league level? Like most of the guys that are here now have proven themselves in the minor leagues, and now can you get it done, or do we need to make a change next year?
Slowly hit. Will be a tough play. Polanco fires, not in time. Allen flying down the line. He's got another infield hit. He's got 3 hits in the ball game: a bunt single, a line drive single, and now that thing. Last night the bullpen shut the door.
They did a nice job. And like I said, there's going to be some guys pitching in big situations, roles they weren't used to you know, roles that Zach Duke was getting a lot of outs late in the ball game. Hildenberger stepped up, done a nice job most of the year in one of those setup roles, but now McGill's going to be there. Addison Reed's back from the disabled list. There is still some guys that have been around a little bit, but there's also opportunity for for some of the guys to say, hey, I belong in this pen. I don't think about bringing in anybody next year in spring training. I want to be on that roster, and they have to prove it over the last 2 months.
And there are a whole host of candidates in Rochester. You've got Alan Buznich, you've got John Curtis, you've got Tyler Duffy, who's been pitching pretty well. Last time I checked anyway, he's been getting a lot of big outs late in ball games for the Red Wings.
I look at Matt McGill, and man, the last couple outings, he knows that Ryan Preston is down in Houston, and he has the opportunity to go out and show the Twins, the team, what he has. I think he's trying to rise to the occasion. Hit 97. His slider was biting the other day. I mean, he has set up closer stuff right now. He's been doing a great job as a long relief man, and he's very accountable. All around guy too.
He's been a great pickup. I said this earlier in the year. He reminds me of, from our team, Matt Guerrier.
Yeah, Matt Guerrier,
who started out in that long role and then just took advantage of the opportunity and blossomed into a guy you can count on to get outs late in ball games.
Not only was he great on the mound, and he's reliable. He was reliable in the clubhouse to make us laugh. He did some funny stuff in that clubhouse, and he kept it easy and loose in there. And you know, you can find a guy like that, like Matt McGill. I think you got to stick with him. He's been doing a great job. Next man up. He's trying to step up.
2 strikes to Lindor. Runner at first, 1 down.
Nothing like speed to slow down a game.
First mound visit for either team.
You get a fast guy out there, you watch the pace of the game just slows down because you got to pay attention. You can't, we talked about this too, you know, you can't just go 1 second, hold, throw to the plate, 1 second, hold. You got to vary your times to the plate as a pitcher. You got to throw over, you got to slide step, you got to do different things to stop that guy from getting to second base, keep the double play in order. You know, there's so many things that happen by keeping that guy. A single doesn't score him. So that speed will slow down that game in a hurry.
Oh yeah,
that's still to me one of the most disappointing things about this season for the Twins.
Right.
2 strikes.
Right.
In my mind, Byron Buxton can be the most exciting player in the game, and he hasn't been this year because he's been hurt. There's some other issues. You know, trying to reconstruct his swing maybe a little bit, but you know, we saw it in the last 2 months last year how disruptive he can be when he gets on base. Chop to the left side. Sano rifles his throw across, and it gets by Mauer, and both runners will advance. So it'll be an infield hit and a throwing error on Sano. Not a strong arm, but that was an ill-advised throw with Lindor streaking down the line.
And his momentum was taking him towards third base. Lindor looked like he just made a conscious effort to hit this ball to the left side. He figured that whole inside of the infield's open. He's got 2 strikes, and he just swats at it. And that's where Sano just needs to hold on to that ball. Joe tried to come off the base and block it up, but the throw was so far up the line he couldn't get to it in time. And instead of having first and second, 1 out, no damage done, now you're playing infield in. You've opened up holes on the field with one of the best hitters over the last 10 years with runners in scoring position.
Single E5.
Down at the knees. Strike 1, says C.B. Buckner. Brantley walked in the first, bounced into a double play in the third, reached on a fielder's choice in the 5th. So far tonight, different pitcher on the mound, of course, but he's beaten it right into the ground. But then so too have Allen and Lindor. Polanco looks the runner back, and Brantley's out again on a weak ground ball. 2 down.
I don't know about you, Torrey, but that surprised me with a guy with that much speed as he has, that he wasn't going on contact right there, other than the fact that you've got Ramirez on.
Yeah.
But if you don't send him right there, now there's an opportunity. I'll be shocked if we pitch to him right here.
Yeah, it's 1 out. I would think that he was going on contact no matter what. It wasn't hit hard. It would have been a hard play for Polanco.
Yeah, with speed, and here's the walk that we're anticipating. He's done so much damage the last 2 days that finally I'm appeased of
Well, you both were intentionally walked, but back then you had to actually deliver 4 pitches.
Yeah.
And I would imagine if you're a hitter, you want to hit, but you understand the situation, and you might be walked. You stand in the box. And, come on, let's go, before they change their mind.
Well, I think nobody, I don't think I ever hear anybody talk about this, but when that guy in front of you gets intentionally walked, it fires you up as a hitter. But when it happens and they don't actually have to throw the pitches, you kind of lose your on-deck routine. Like for me, who had certain things I had to do before I went up to the plate, you know, the way you get loose, the way you take your swings, all that kind of stuff, it sort of rushes you into that at bat, and it doesn't give you that time to prepare. I understand what we're trying to do. We're trying to speed up the game and all that kind of stuff, but it also affects those guys behind them not being able to prepare in the normal way that they would.
Well, whatever effect that might have, it's neutralized a little bit here with the mound visit. There's Taylor Rogers getting loose. Alonso would be the next batter. The Twins, of course, are hoping that Encarnacion will make his 4th out of the evening.
And that mound visit was to try and buy time for the left-handed hitter on deck to try and get our left-handed reliever ready to maybe face Alonso if the situation calls for it.
Just outside.
Grand slams.
Ball 1.
He got it. He has 11 grand slams. Wow. He's gonna hit a ground ball today.
Smothered by Wilson.
And now Belial's kind of backed himself into a corner here. What do you do? How do you attack him? Plays not made behind you, but still you want to find a way to get out of it. Pick your teammates up after the error and intentional walk. Now you have to throw the ball over and hope he hits the line drive at somebody.
2-1.
You have to go after this guy while Alonso hitting behind him. This is your last hitter no matter what.
Base hit right field. A soft line drive over Bauer's head. It'll score 2. And Encarnacion makes it a 3-run Cleveland lead. Tough luck for Belial here. A couple of scratch singles in the 7th inning. And this ball wasn't hit very well.
Yeah, he didn't try to do too much. Bases loaded, 2 outs. He just wanted to get a base hit. He tried to shoot it the other way. You can tell the way he swung the bat. Had a little cut to it, and he just went with the pitch and shot it the other way and get those 2 RBIs. Don't have to do too much. You do less to get more.
Well, Encarnacion now with 75 runs batted in. And Matt Belial comes out, and Taylor Rogers will try to retire Yonder Alonso. That's most of a song title right there. 25-4. Nationals beating the Mets.
Is that the Redskins and
Yeah, Jose Reyes, probably not the only position player to pitch.
Redskins Jets game?
Yeah.
It's a football score.
Taylor Rogers will try to get Yonder Alonso and keep this a 5-2 ball game.
Wow.
Alonso for 3, 2 ground balls and a fly ball to center.
You think they're happy they didn't do a fire sale there? All those guys are still on that team. Other than Kinsler, I think they traded.
Yeah, Kinsler traded to the Cubs. And of course, a year ago, he was, I guess, had just been dealt to the Nationals by the Twins.
I was told that Reyes finished the game pitching shortstop.
Either one of you guys ever pitch in a game or wanted to pitch in a game?
No, I didn't. I played in the infield, 5-man infield, made a play at home. But that's the closest I've been on that grass, on that dirt, on the mound.
I had never had any desire to pitch.
Not at all.
Too close.
Swing and a miss.
I was always told when you pitch, you almost on your way out.
As a position player, you mean?
Yeah.
That's why I was shocking. Who was it?
Well,
Rizzo pitched the other day.
Rizzo pitched the other day. I was like, hey, what's going on? What?
A playoff team.
What about Cuddy? Cuddy did it for us.
Cuddy could do anything. He was a master at it all.
Cuddy threw a bullpen every day too. Every day you come out for stretch, Cuddy would be out here throwing to somebody, throwing pitches, talking about how nasty his curveball was.
He was a third. He had many jobs. He was a third baseman, second baseman, right fielder,
first baseman,
and a magician. He had all sources of income.
Just 1 and 2.
Just not the position he was drafted for. Shortstop.
Shortstop. He was a shortstop and did not play shortstop at all in the big leagues.
Breaking ball, hook foul. It's a dangerous lineup, and some people believe that the Indians are not done yet. I mentioned it when Derek Falvey was here. Indians pulled off a big acquisition last year after the July trade deadline. They added Jay Bruce, and he was a big bat for them, leading them into the playoffs. 1 and 2. 2 and 2. Now we should explain, and I'll try, and if I can't, if I miss something, you guys correct me. Players can still be traded, but they have to pass through waivers.
And there's 2 outs and 2 strikes, so there's no way we're going to get through this whole thing.
Well, I thought that capsulized it right there, didn't it? That didn't do it?
I think it'll take us about an inning and a half to explain.
Really? Okay. 2 and 2. And now 3 and 2.
So a team can put a claim in on a guy. It starts with the worst record going up to the best record
in each league.
So a team,
right?
Yep, and a team puts him on waivers. So if it's now I could get this wrong. This is why it's going to take an inning and a half to explain it. But if a guy in an American League team, say the Twins put a guy on waivers, all the teams in the American League have a chance to claim him. As we look at this next pitch, but
3 and 2. And a called third strike, and C.B. Buckner is the least popular man in Minnesota. needs at Menards.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Minnesota Twins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Minnesota Twins, LLC.
Now that was outstanding, because you had a former teammate of yours not looking over your shoulder but looking over your elbow.
Oh yeah, he was pumping me up. He was like, "Come on, T, you got it." And right when I said disseminated, he was like, "Disseminated."
Brandon Geyer in the ball game in right field.
Okay, so back to our waiver discussion, because we only have 2 innings left in this game. So the team runs them through. Anybody can claim them. So if it's a guy who has value, a lot of times last place teams won't do it. It's a courtesy to the teams that are ahead, because if you're in that situation, but teams will try and block guys.
And Cave,
that's beautiful.
Bottom of the 7th with a base hit.
We call that a Georgia peach. That is so sweet. You like that?
It's good, clean living right there.
Yeah, it's clean living. Must be living right.
So if a team claims a guy, one of a few things can happen, but one of them is, say a guy's making a lot of money, which, you know, that's why you see a lot of these trades go through in August, because a team that's in 4th place isn't going to claim a guy who's got $50 million left on his contract. So that's how they get up to that. But if 2 teams are in the need of the same guy, you know, if Dustin Pedroia is hurt in Boston, I'll try and give this example. So if
I think you got 2 minutes left.
If the Yankees see a second baseman being run through, they can try and claim that second baseman so that the Red Sox don't have him. So if Pedroia is hurt, a team has an injury, an outfielder's being put through waivers, everybody in the league knows it.
The ball lifted to center, hit fairly well, but Allen is back, and he makes the catch, backpedaling, and now Cave is going to try for second base, and he is safe.
Nice hustle. He got back.
And he had to hustle because he was playing off the bag and then sprinted both one direction then the other.
He did have a little bit late read, but he ended up making the right read off the bat. That's instincts, that's paying attention, and he gets thrown out right there. It's not a good play, but the way Allen caught that ball, backing up, backpedaling, didn't really get behind it, still made a strong throw, but Cave did a nice job of reading that right there.
Yeah, he did a good job. He was halfway. He didn't know if he was going to catch it or not, but he was halfway and kind of ran back and get tagged up, and he got there safely.
Trevor Bauer goes through the Twins lineup 3 times. He will be taken out. Now we'll have a new pitcher, and we'll have the conclusion of Justin Morneau's explanation of the waiver process when we come back. Week and a half ago, I guess. Pitched on this mound before when he came through here last year as a member of the Padres. Talked to Brad this afternoon. lives in South Florida, comes back to the Twin Cities area for holidays and the like. And so he'll make his first appearance against the Twins as a member of the Indians with Cave at second and 1 down. Bauer 0 for 3. He's hit 2 lineouts.
Just gonna have to deal.
Low, ball 1.
And they gave up a lot to get him, one of their best prospects, but
catching prospect, those they're worth their weight in gold now.
True, but they're going to lose Andrew Miller to free agency in the offseason. They have, they're going to lose both of their dependable late inning guys to in the offseason to free agency. So this is a move towards the future also of making sure they have dependable relievers down there with experience.
If they want to get one through waivers, how do they do that?
Well, I don't think this guy would make it through waivers. We'll just leave the waiver discussion for whoever later, maybe, because we're running out of time.
It was good. It was informative.
1-1 to Mauer. See what happens here in the 7th inning. We're going to get this result, folks, for those of you who want to know more about the process. Breaking ball and a swing and a miss.
Well, I think if it takes 3 innings to explain it, I'm probably not doing a very good job of explaining it.
Just say, hey, everybody goes through a waiver process. If you get claimed, you got 3 days.
You can work out a trade. You can pull the guy back. So even if a team claims a guy and you don't want to trade him to that team, you can pull him back. Or you can say, here, you take him for nothing, and you have to pay him the rest of the salary.
Right.
So that's basically what it boils down to. That's the short version.
Well, we're done with it now. Nice job. 1-2. Lifted to left in the ballpark. In fact, Brantley has to come in a couple steps. 2 down. And you guys both know it. You were both cleared or passed through waivers annually.
Every year
Kirby Puckett was. 2 down. Rosario will hit, but first let's reflect on Mauer's at bat.
We'll take a look through the pitch sequence. And this is a tough left-hander. 94, 96 miles an hour. The breaking ball off the plate. That's a tough matchup of a guy who's really turned himself into one of the best left-handed relievers in the league, and there's a reason they had to pay such a high price to get him on their ball club for a team that expects itself to be in the playoffs. Sometimes you have to make those tough calls.
Yep. Replay brought to you by Carrier. Here's Rosario.
He kind of set up Mauer. See how he pitched fastballs down and away, and finished them up.
Breaking ball spun over the screen.
And it's not very often you know he has above average stuff, because very rarely do you see Joe Mauer take a swing on that breaking ball like he did. Now that ball was a good foot off the plate. Very rarely does Joe chase like that and look like he did. Front side came out, his hip was moving towards first base, and really looked fooled, and that doesn't happen very often with Joe.
With Cave skittering towards third.
And what you talked about earlier with Miguel Sano having right-handed hitters in front of him that could help him learn what's happening. Hopefully Rosario was paying attention to how he approached Joe Mauer. And it will help his at-bat if he was paying attention from the on-deck circle to see, okay, this is what this guy likes to do. This is how hard his fastball is. Good breaking ball. And then you learn from that. You set your approach as a hitter from that by watching those guys in front of you. So that's an advantage for Rosario hitting behind Mauer.
You're so lefty heavy in this lineup, in our Twins lineup. It's tough for Miguel Sano to find somebody that has the body type. Well, you won't find too many people in Major League Baseball that has his body type. He's a big individual.
But a power right-handed hitter.
A power right-handed hitter. Anybody with a little power, it's tough for him. And he has to go up there and waste in that bat to kind of figure out what this pitcher's trying to do to him and what he looks like and what the pitch looks like. Instead, most guys got, if say Jake Cave strikes out, he goes back and tell Rosario and Mauer, hey, this pitch was doing this and he did this to me. You got a chance to watch him, and so you have a better plan when you go to the plate.
1-2 to Rosario. Cave at second. Poke to the right side of weak 1 hopper and and gets the job done, retiring both Bauer and Rosario.
Update. Our next Twins broadcast on Fox Sports North is Friday night. Join us at 6:30 p.m. The Twins will try to give the royal treatment to Kansas City. The Royals and Twins. Coverage begins at 6:30 p.m. Friday on Fox Sports North.
And it will be the Mike Moustakas-less Royals dealt to the Brewers. And the Twins have a little score to settle with Kansas City. The Royals have dominated the Twins in the season series so far, much like the Twins have the Indians. It'll be Addison Reed. This time he's pitched in about 3 weeks. Some right triceps tightness. And so he will face Cabrera, Kipnis, and Perez. I beg your pardon. Cabrera taken out of the game, and it is Brandon Guy. Yes. Cabrera had gone 0 for 3.
And this was a defensive move.
Yep.
Have the better athlete in the outfield.
Geyer takes ball 1 inside.
And I feel like this is one of the things that's changed a lot in the last few years in baseball. It used to be you'd wait till the eighth or ninth inning to make those defensive substitutions, but now it seems like the 7th inning, even sometimes the 6th inning, when you have a lead, you put your best defensive team on the field because the bullpens are so dominant. It's very rare that a team's able to come back, so you put those guys and don't give them a chance and take those outs away now that you have the lead.
That's to center, and Cave makes a diving catch this time.
Nice play.
Missed one in Kansas City, missed one here last night, but he was able to make that catch 1 away.
And you like to see a guy stay aggressive even after he's made mistakes, and you keep learning which balls you can dive for, and he made a great read on that one. Great play.
He got a pretty good jump on it. You know, when you're diving, actually the ball will make you dive. You fall into a dive. You don't really just dive ill-advised, and that right there, the ball created that dive.
But he did what you've said Eddie Rosario should do on a couple occasions. Go ahead and dive head first rather than on your hip or feet first.
Right. See, if you would have went feet first, it would have been a harder play, and you're prone to injury as well. But he just kind of fell into the dive. He wanted to reach out, and he felt like he had the dive to get more extension.
Wilson calls for it, makes the catch in front of the Cleveland dugout. Like some guys can jump in the lake, but a lot of people have a hard time diving into the lake. Right? I mean, you got to train yourself to do that.
Right. Definitely. You're uncomfortable because the first time I dove in, not a lake, of course,
a pond.
Yeah, you know,
pond would be good for you.
I don't do ponds. It had to be a swimming pool or something, or a local pool or something.
All right. Okay.
And I dove not with my head first. I dove with my chest first, and I lost my breath. Knocked the wind out of me.
Right.
And so I learned how to dive. But sometimes it takes an injury or something to figure out, like, hey, I need to figure out how to do it right.
People are pretty smart generally. If they find out something causes less pain, they're going to
make the adjustment.
They can make the adjustment, right? Strike on the outside corner.
Generally.
If you touch the hot stove twice, something's wrong with you. You love to get burned.
1-1. And now 2-1. Reed hoping to have a uneventful 8th inning here. Good to see him back out on the mound. A lot of changes in the Twins bullpen, but Reed is still under contract for next year, and the Twins have an option on Fernando Rodney. So that's one of the reasons, under the assumption the Twins want to bring Rodney back next year. One of the reasons the veterans are still with the Twins, they still fit into, though tentative though they may be, the plans for next year. 3-1. And now a strike.
And the other thing it does, if you're bringing these younger guys up to audition for the bullpen, you have a couple professionals around, guys that have been through, every situation to help these guys along. Also, it's very hard for guys to learn how to pitch out of the bullpen or develop in the big leagues. There's no one to lean on.
Hot ground ball under a diving Jorge Polanco, 2-out single. Let's see if the Twins can get Greg Allen out here. Saturday, baseball's best rivalry, the Yankees taking on the Red Sox, and then Mike Trout and the Angels will battle Francisco Lindor and the Indians. Coverage begins at 2 Central on FS1 or stream it live on the Fox Sports app. I got Mookie Betts as my candidate to be a league MVP now. Here with the Indians, I would imagine Jose Ramirez would be the prominent choice of several for the Indians. There's a fly ball to center. Cave is under it. Pretty good inning for Addison Reed as he sets the Indians down and out in the 8th.
Twins Live, presented by CenturyLink. We'll take you through the starts for both Bauer and Gibson. They were solid tonight, as expected. And we'll also show you how Jose Ramirez has been raking here in this series. Both games, a thorn in the side of the Minnesota Twins. We'll bring you inside the clubhouse. And guys, we'll hear from the manager, Paul Mauter, and what's been another tumultuous day here off the field for the Minnesota Twins.
Yeah, a lot of movement in baseball, and the Twins involved in it. Brad Hand out there to pitch in the 8th inning. He'll face Polanco, Morrison, and Kepler. Polanco 2 walks on a pop-up against Trevor Bauer. Squaring to bunt, taking ball 1. I want to pass along our best wishes to Chuck Olson, who's one of the many press box attendants here at Target Field that makes our lives collectively so much nicer. And Chuck's had a little bit of a health issue. He got that taken care of and is on the recovery trail, and we hope to see him back here at Target Field real soon. Twins in a little bit of a box here because they're man's short. The man's Logan Forsythe. He'll be here for tomorrow's game, but they have essentially a two-man bench. One of them is, of course, the backup catcher or the other catcher, Mitch Garver. And we are right now leading off the 8th inning. And if the Twins get any base runners at all, Bobby Wilson, his spot in the batting order will come up, and the Twins would essentially probably use at least one move for Wilson, getting Garver into the game if they're still behind. 1 and 2. Popped up foul and out of play. So with all these left-handers here, there's Robbie Grossman, a switch hitter on the bench, but under the assumption that Garver at some point will hit for Wilson, that would be your only bench move, and it's a question of where you're gonna play it.
Yeah, it really puts Paul Molitor in a tough spot to manage this game the way he would like to or think he could, because you really can't run out of players, because if you tie the game and you have an injury, then you end up with a pitcher playing in the field. You just have to leave one guy on the bench at all times.
Yeah, I think Grossman stays.
Called, third strike, and Hand clips the outside corner, 1 down. And that'll bring up Morrison.
Let's take a look to see where this pitch was. Polanco didn't like it.
I believe in the box. It was a strike.
And that ball is unhittable and in the strike zone. You know, right-handed hitter against left-handed pitcher, that ball starts out of the zone. You kind of give up on it, and then it comes back around. It looks like it goes around the plate, but catches that corner. You're walking back to the dugout. You go look at it on video and go, yep, that was a strike.
Here's Morrison. He homered over the scoreboard in right center field his last time up. Breaking ball off the plate.
1 out, 1, here we go. 1 out.
Well, it's good to see Addison Reed in the game, and looks like we'll get to see Trevor May pitch as well. How long it's been since he's pitched, nearly 2 years ago against the Indians.
I'd be willing to bet he's got some butterflies and some extra adrenaline going right now, and you might see the highest velocity you've seen from him in a while.
Big pop. Oh my. And Perez gives way to the third baseman, Ramirez.
Neither guy wanted any part of that pop up right there. They were looking at each other as that ball's in the air going, you want it? You want it?
Let's talk about Trevor May. You know, I remember in 2015 when I broke my ankle. I missed the last 2 months of the season. I'm just sitting at home, like, really going crazy. I was driving my wife crazy, driving my kids crazy, and just watching those games. And I can almost bet you Trevor May has a newfound love for this game. You know, you don't take it for granted when you're out of the game. You never know. When he was injured, he never knew that he was going to get back to the major leagues, and you don't know what you're going to be like coming back. So Trevor May right now, if you talk to him, I bet you he has a different outlook on the game. You know, maybe I'm not saying you took it for granted, but you just looking at the game, watching it, and you can't perform the way you want to perform. You were in the major leagues, your dream. I can almost bet you he's like, wow, let me appreciate this and enjoy every moment. So Trevor Bauer, I can almost bet you he's excited to be back. Trevor May, my bad.
I completely agree with that. You always love the game, but you assume everything's going to go well when you're a young player and you're going to play till you're 40 and everything else, like very few actually get to do. So when you come back, you kind of cherish those moments a little bit more.
Stroke to right. Kepler with a line drive. Hard off the wall. He'll round first, dig for second, and he is in with a double. Batting average against lefties has come down a little bit in recent weeks, but he's driven so many balls against lefties for extra base hits than he did last year.
And that was a nice job. Fastball right down the middle, 95 miles an hour, got the barrel to it. And that's one of the things as a left-handed hitter that sometimes drives you nuts about this ballpark, because you hit that ball in a lot of ballparks. That's a home run right there. Instead, you're hustling as hard as you can, trying not to get thrown out at second, down by 3 runs.
It's not like you've been there and done that before, huh?
Yeah, that's a hard wall, man. You got to get on your horse when you see it hit in the air.
Would have been a home run in Cleveland. Would have been a home run in New York. It's a double here, and it gets Brad Hand out of the game. gets to second. And Miguel Sano will come up and try to drive in a run against Cody Allen.
They've thrown him a lot of first pitch breaking balls. It'll be interesting to see what they do here as we look at the numbers for Cody Allen. Struggled a little bit in that closer's role. It's really going to be important if they want to make a run to the postseason and in the postseason. They're really going to need him to get back to the pitcher that he's been leading up to this season.
Sano's put 2 of them on the barrel. A double and a run scored in the second. He walked in the fourth, then hit a hot ground ball for a double play in the sixth. Breaking ball, shaving corner.
Really, CB?
That's frustrating as a hitter because you do everything right. You lay off a tough pitch and it doesn't go your way. That can really affect the outcome of the entire at bat. Instead of being ahead in the count, you're behind in the count. Now you got to protect against that pitch. You feel like you have to.
To right field. And hit right at Brandon Geyer to end the inning. We head to the ninth. The Indians up 5-2.
Exciting time for Trevor May, back after Tommy John surgery, nearly 2 years away. Talked about it this afternoon, his emotions. First off, being in the clubhouse, said he had butterflies, guys, just being in the clubhouse and being back with the big club. And he said he's worked hard to get back here, feels good about his velocity. He said for a long time when he was working to get back, he wanted to be a starter. But as he started to work through it down at the minor league level, he decided with his velocity and the way he's pitching right now, he wants to be a shutdown guy on the back end of the bullpen. He really likes the way his velocity has developed. Control has been a process. He said it's better right now. Bottom line, he said he's just thrilled to be back here. It's been a long road back, and it's exciting to see him back on the mound here at Target Field.
I enjoyed from a distance watching him run in from the bullpen, because that was something he has imagined doing for about a year and a half, ever since he had the surgery in March of 2017. The tear was diagnosed in the spring, and it has cost him a year and a half, and the monotony of the rehab and all of that, and it paid off with that long sprint to the mound. Here is Lindor. And his first pitch, a breaking ball over a strike. And Lindor looks at him and says, wasn't expecting that.
I don't think anybody in the ballpark except for him was expecting that.
Me neither.
I was looking for the 96 on the radar gun right there.
That was 96. And Lindor drops it into right center field for a single. But to see 96, and we'll see if over the course of the rest of this year whether he has the command of 96. And the Twins have got something in Trevor May.
He went first pitch breaking ball over for a strike and then missed on the other side of the plate. Was trying to go away with that, but the velocity 96, he did get in on him, jammed him a little bit, but a good hitter stays through the ball, uses the big part of the field, and gets rewarded for a good approach.
And now Brantley has walked and hit 3 ground balls. All three fielded by Polanco, one starting a double play. There's 94 off the plate. What we saw from Trevor before the surgery was the breaking ball we've already seen and a good fastball, but a really good feel for the changeup.
And this is a good count for him to throw it in right here. Changeup's always good for a left-hand hitter roll over for a double play ball.
It might have been it there, 86 miles per hour.
Is that a changeup?
And he's going to have to be able to get that over, especially out of the bullpen. And you might see him go to being, he's got 3 good pitches, but left-handed hitters, he might be a 2-pitch guy. Right-handed hitters, he might be a 2-pitch guy, because out of the bullpen, it's hard to find a feel for 3 pitches in those short appearances.
High fastball, gets a swing and a miss.
As a starting pitcher, you have time. You have 5, 6, 7 innings to figure out what's working that day. As a reliever, when you're trying to get 3 outs as fast as you can and try and dominate through, it's hard to have time to be able to figure out what's working that day. So you need to have a feel for it when you come into the game, and sometimes simplify it a little bit.
It's amazing because bullpen guys have to be really students of the game. They have to sit out there. You know, I don't know if they have a TV out there, but they have to watch and see what the starting pitcher did to get a lot of these guys out, and try to have a game plan before they get into the game on the mound.
And then also trust the catcher behind the plate who's been there all day and seen what their hitters have been trying to do. It's a combination of trusting your stuff, knowing the hitter, and then when it all boils down to it, if you don't know what to do, trust that guy behind the plate, because he's been back there for 6, 7, 8 innings.
Yeah.
Putting down the fingers, knowing how he's trying to get guys out, what guys have hit so far in the game, and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Slap foul, 2-2.
And we both know guys that sit out there and they're not students of the game, and they think their 100 miles an hour fastball is going to keep them in the major league for a long period of time. But it's that guy that's out there that's a student of the game, that watches every pitch, watches every hitter, and trying to figure out what's his game plan going to be against, you know, a Miguel Cabrera or whoever it may be that he's going to face. And when he gets in, he has more of a game plan because he watched the innings before him.
Good breaking ball, strikes out a good hitter. 1 down. Tonight's Coors Light refreshing finish. The damage done by Jose Ramirez. A couple of solo home runs last night and a couple of run-producing hits tonight.
This is the guy in the lineup you don't want to let beat you. And unfortunately, he came up with runners in scoring position, runners on base today, and he did some damage again. Hit a ball as hard as you can hit a ball off that wall. Got jammed, got rewarded with a single in front of Kepler. And then the one time the Twins do decide to potentially walk him, Encarnacion comes through with 2 RBIs.
Off of pitches Lindor, and he stutter steps on his way into second and still scampers to third. Third hit tonight for Ramirez, 3 for 4. And first and third now, 1 down for Encarnacion.
A little hit and run, it looked like.
I like it.
Unfortunately for Lindor, or fortunately, I guess, I don't know, he didn't catch it, but as a base runner in that situation, you can't stop at second base, because if you line out and he catches it, you're going to get doubled off anyway.
You're out anyway. So you got to keep going.
As a base runner, you kind of need to peek a little bit, figure out where that ball went. If you line out, you just keep going, because a line out on the infield, you have no chance of getting back if you're stealing.
And now Ramirez goes, and Wilson just bluffs the throw. Indians have done that, what, 3 times already. They've taken second base without a throw in this situation. Good teams do that. Get to the outfield now means 2 runs rather than 1.
If you have decent speed, you know, these guys got a lot of speed, but if you have decent speed, you can create havoc. And that's what they're doing right now. You saw that when we played the Red Sox. They all just ran. And you saw this today and yesterday. These guys run, man.
Infield in. Swing and a miss, 1-1.
That's something that I feel like us as Twins, you know, the Twins' way of playing baseball, we always ran no matter what, and kind of got away from that a little bit, but hopefully we get that back.
You know, that you bring up a good point, because I think we all imagine the nucleus of this team approaching the mid-20s. Sano and Buxton haven't been able to contribute much, but they haven't played, see if you agree or not, they haven't played offensively as athletically as
they are.
Does that make any sense?
Right.
But the only thing I'll say about that
Foul back.
is that it's hard to run and steal bases when you're losing.
Yeah.
You know, if you're up, you know, they're up by 3 runs. They ran just first pitch. They just took off, both of them.
Right.
As base runners this inning. You know, when you're down by 3 in the 7th, the 8th inning, you cannot make an out stealing a base. So if you're on a team that wins 90 games, you have a lot more chances to run. If you're on a team that loses 90 games, there's less opportunities to run, and you're usually down in games earlier, so you can't make outs and give away outs on the bases.
And coming home is the throw from Adrianza, and it's off target. Lindor beats it anyway, and Lindor will score. The Indians get an insurance run.
I think if you're going to choose to field that ball like that with 2 hands and not try and cut it off with 1 hand on the run, you know, he kind of hung back on it a little bit and made sure that he didn't make an error on it. If you watch him on this replay, he's there, he takes 2 steps, 2 hands, instead of coming and attacking it with 1 hand and throwing it on the run. When you stay back and you field it like that, I understand what the score is, and you're playing infield in, but at the same time you have to get outs. If you're not in the proper position, or you don't feel like you can get the guy out at home, just throw it to first, take the outs if they give you. The game tells you what you should do. That ball wasn't hit very hard, and he wasn't in a position to throw it home. So you don't do it just because you're playing in. You read what the game tells you, and then you react, as opposed to trying to force something like that.
I like how Encarnacion, you know, runners in scoring position, less than 2 outs. He did not try to force anything, just wanted to hit the ball to the right side, get that RBI in. You know, he had speed at third. All he has to do is hit it to the right side. That's why he's always around 90 to 100 RBIs every year, right?
You have to be able to put the ball in play. You saw it in his last at bat with the bases loaded. He got jammed. He stayed through it and hit it over Mauer's head.
Yep.
Just a simple approach. And you see the best run producers do that. They're able to make contact in those situations, as opposed to striking out and taking those big swings and trying to hit a 3-run homer there when, you know, base hit or single will do.
Nice pick by Adrianza, 4-6-3. Very nice play by Adrianza. The Indians had another run in the top of the 9th. One of the reasons the Indians are so good, they every once in a while will send out a really good pitcher, like regularly, and that's was the case so far here tonight. And now Cody Allen will try to pick up a save. Robbie Grossman pinch hitting, and the first pitch lifted to center field, and Allen over in the gap puts it away, and Grossman's gone on 1 pitch. It is a safe situation, even though it's a 4-run lead, because Allen came into the game in the 8th inning with the tying run in the on-deck circle, and he got Sano on a fly ball, and so the safe situation was when he entered the game, not when he hopes to finish it. 1 down, and now Jake Cave, and Mitch Garver's in the on-deck circle. He'll hit for Wilson. Strike 1 to Cave. Sacrifice fly in the 2nd, and a single in the 7th. Outside, and it's 1-1. One and two.
It's a hard at bat as a hitter. The guy in front of you swings at the first pitch leading off the inning. You should take that pitch. I don't know how you feel about it, but it's like almost 100% take.
I mean, you have to. It's a 4-run lead. You know, Grossman swung at the first pitch. It is what it is. He might have, you know, wanted to jump on that pitch, but the 4-run lead, you know, I was taught to work the count so we can create base runners. And but if you swing at that first pitch, that next guy is like in trouble, especially with a guy who's a former closer and he has closer stuff. It's a really good curveball. You don't want to see his secondary pitches like that. Nasty.
Perez throws to complete the strikeout, 2 down, and that'll bring up Garver. Well, Garver ended the ball game with a hit in last night's ball game.
Yeah, he's been hot, man. He's 298 average to run in scoring position, 286 in the late clutch innings, 5 game-winning ribbies. Oh man, this guy's been staying inside the ball, staying short in clutch situations and making things happen. He's trying to do less to get more, and he's been getting more because he's trying less. Wow, that sounds good, didn't it?
I think you should get that tattooed someplace.
Oh, in a place you can't see.
Well, strike 1.
It's a good thing we wore suits today. Long sleeves.
Yeah.
Wilson had gone 0 for 2 with a walk. Twins trying to keep the game alive here and to get the lineup turned over.
Wow.
0 and 2.
And the only problem I have with him swinging at the first pitch of the inning was now he's probably going to be available to pitch tomorrow, even though he's pitched an inning and a third, whatever it is.
Well, and then last night he pitched 2 an inning.
But if you come in and he throws 10 pitches, 15 pitches, whatever it is, I mean, as tough as it is to give up that at bat, especially as a pinch hitter, you try and get the first good pitch you hit or you see to hit. But now we haven't made him work, and now he's comfortable out there, and he may be available tomorrow. Probably not, pitching back-to-back days, but.
Ooh. That pitch has been called a strike tonight. Like the Twins, the Indians have Thursday off. So it's tomorrow's day game and then an off day. So to your point, they might feel a little more comfortable using him again tomorrow if the pitch count isn't elevated today, knowing that Thursday they've got an off day. 2 and 2 to Garver.
Oh, CB's getting tighter.
And now he's hearing it from the Cleveland dugout.
But it's tough as a hitter because it was called a strike previously in the at bat. Now it's called a ball.
It was outside.
And you don't know what the strike zone actually is as a hitter, and it's tough in these situations.
And there's a walk. Garver does a nice job again keeping the game alive.
Mr. Clutch.
And Bauer will hit. And the extra plate appearance here, Joe, we would expect would have a patient at bat. Maybe make Allen throw 5 pitches or more.
We definitely need him to walk like 3 guys.
But that was a good at bat right there because it forces him to face another batter.
Right.
Now I don't think he'd be available tomorrow, but if he has a 9-10 pitch inning, I can almost guarantee he would be in a big situation tomorrow.
Strike call.
So there's team at-bats that happen throughout the game. We saw it early with the bunt, the sac fly, but there's also team at-bats that can happen. Even if you're down by 4 runs, it can help the guys around you and help you for tomorrow, for the rest of the series, or whatever it is. So as long as guys are having team at-bats the entire game, that's usually when you're successful. It's when you get away from it sometimes that it costs you.
1-1.
And I felt like that was one of the strengths of our teams that we had, was we were conscious of the pitch count. We were trying to get that starter out of the game by the 5th inning. We were trying to run up that pitch count. We were trying not to let him have 4 pitch innings and all that kind of stuff. And it happened, of course, but as a team, we were aware of it, and we talked about it a lot.
Yeah, I remember Brad Rackey's out there for a long time. Oh, nice swing.
Bauer with a base hit. Garber will hold up at second. And now Rosario, with Polanco representing the tying run in the on-deck circle.
And the 3rd ball that Joe's hit very well tonight. Did a nice job of staying inside that ball. Fastball, trying to come in on him. Right on the inside corner. Pulls his hands in. Gets the barrel to it, stays inside.
He tried to run that 2-seamer back inside the plate. And Joe tucked those hands and got a nice swing in the right center field. Carl Willis.
Oliver Perez warming up in the bullpen.
Got Rosario. Rosie's been kind of, I saw his front hip has been pulling out the whole game. He's been rolling over the ball. Hopefully he can get back to where his power is. His power is left center, left field. He's been pulling the ball the last couple days.
At the very least, the Twins have got Perez lathered up here in the bullpen. Thanks to Garber's walk, Bauer single, the Twins need a bloop and a blast, and we're tied up.
I would definitely like to see Polanco get to the plate with bases loaded. He's been clutch the last couple games.
And the reason they have the lefty up is because his splits are so drastic. He's been so much better this year left-handed than he's been right-handed. So you get the lefty up, but by having these good at-bats, you at least force him to get up and make him work and make him think about coming in the game, regardless of what happens here.
Down and away, ball 1.
CB's gotten tight. It's almost, early on, his strike zone was a little wider from east to west. You almost want to kind of work it and see if you can get this guy behind in the count.
Fly ball left field should be the end of it. Brantley over. And the Twins put together a modest threat in the 9th inning, but the Indians have evened the series with a 6-2 win. Trevor Bauer a little too much. Anthony LaPanta, the Twins will try to win this series tomorrow at noon.
They'll need a win in the finale to do that as the Indians square it tonight. 6-2. They push the Twins back to 9 games out in the Central Division. We'll have much more on Jose Ramirez and the way he's dominated in this series. We'll hear from Paul Molitor all next on Twins Live.